How is everyone doing tonight? I almost went live with my music playing out loud. I almost started recording on OBS instead of going live. I do not have all my screens set up, but I mostly have it set up. But yeah, what's everyone up to tonight? We are 1 week before Christmas, which is crazy. 2024 flew by. I have one big topic today, which is probably obvious if you read the title, looked at the thumbnail. I'm going to be talking about the live auction block that has what hopefully is 50, 60, 80, $100,000 worth of my former collection up for sale. It was too high of a percentage of my total net worth. It was too much money with respect to what my current liquidity goals are in my business. And it just was time. I've talked about it for like the last few weeks now. And yeah, opportunity costs. I heeded my own advice. I couldn't believe both of the last two videos. I kind of would have expected to be 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, something like that, middle of the pack. But they were both like 1, 2 out of 10. Really good reception. The amount of people that I've had reach out to me and say, like, hey, I finally, and hopefully they don't, in hindsight, like a year from now, 5 years from now, think, oh man, I watched Dan's opportunity cost video, and had I not sold all that stuff, I could have done X, Y, and Z. But the amount of people that I had reach out and say, like, oh, Dan, you're selling your trophy Pikachu card, I realized that me not selling X, Y, and Z has been holding me back, and I'm listing it now. I've had some amount of people reach out to, like, hey, can I consign this with you? Where would you sell this if you were going to sell it? Do you want to make an offer on this? Like a fair bit of that. Hopefully, everyone similar to me has very specific things that they're immediately putting the money into. I know I've said it before in the past, and I still like this idea. I rarely sell something to see the bank account go up. Like when I sold my initial parts of my former collection early into the boom, when I sold my PSA 9 Gold Star set that was part of my PC that I intended to hold for a long time, I consciously, I sold that because I bought a number one trophy Pikachu. I think I actually finalized the number one trophy Pikachu deal a day or two later, but it was getting to the point where, I knew this deal was going to happen, and the proceeds from the PSA 9 Gold Star set that I sold immediately and fully went into the number one Pikachu sale. And when I sold but when I took a bunch of money out of the business after late in the boom, selling a ton of Evolutions cases at 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. I think I might have sold one at 6,000. I can't remember exactly. I still need to do that case study video I talked about for a year. I paid off my house with that. So I consciously am putting this trophy money. This one's going to be less directly trophy money, Art Academy money. It's going to be less like I'm going to buy this with it. I'm going to buy a lot of different things with it. I'm going to buy this, and I'm going to buy, if I try lifting, I have a bunch of 5-rows over there with packs stacked high. I was going to try to grab one and throw it up on screen. I'm probably going to drop it and knock stuff over. My desk is full of packs. I've got some Shining Fates, some Generations. If you've recently shipped to me, you might see some of your own packs, but I've got stacks and stacks, cards to go through. So it's less like one tangible thing. It's more just expanding my inventory for the live streams. It's more trying to feed the beast that is the continual, insatiable demand of the live stream consumer base. And as I mentioned in the video too, earlier this year, I'm normally the normal things, the buckets, all that stuff, 401ks, IRAs maxed out. There were some other things that I took money out of the business, which is rare, because the sugar mama, the wife, she covers all the standard bills. She covers all the standard living costs that we have nearly entirely. So I did take a little bit of excess money out to do some other stuff. That opportunity cost was better to be selling this stuff than to continue holding it. But yeah, let's see who we got hanging out in here. Yeah, let me see who's hanging out, and then we'll go to Fanatics quickly to just run through what's for sale in case anyone missed my last two videos, in case anyone missed my last couple of weeks of live streams. I've been talking about it a lot, but it is a big deal. It's a big deal for me. It is. Oh, I see you, Java. I appreciate you. I don't think I can put this. Why is it? It shows like bright white, and I can't even read what it says. Java, Akuma, and their viewers just joined. Say hello. So that's like an oversight with YouTube. I use dark mode, so all my stuff is black text, white background. But when that alert came up that Java was rating us, and appreciate you, Java, it was white background with white text, so I couldn't read it whatsoever. I had to highlight the text to be able to read it. And then Java also gifting 5 subs. We do have the stream elements thing working. I will say, I don't know if he wants to be mentioned. The guy who I've been talking to about this stuff for my live streams, we have some fun alerts in the works that I plan to unveil for the new year. 2 years ago, so 2023, January 2023, I unveiled the current branding that I have. The merch, I unveiled the merch, and then what else did I unveil? The shirts. I guess that was it. I think that's when I got this overlay too. But yeah, I don't know if he wants to be mentioned, but I do have somebody that reached out and that's working on kind of a rebrand a little bit, adding to the brand. I don't know what you'd call it, but 2025, there's going to be a refresh. There's going to be some new stream assets. Stream assets, I think, is like the technical fancy way to talk about it. So I'm going to have some nice new stream assets, some new alerts for super chats, how rare they are, gifted subscriptions, membership, subscribers, all that stuff. That'll be fun. That'll be cool. But yeah, if you want to be mentioned in the future, let me know. And I will mention you because I very much appreciate it, and I will be compensating for it in some way. I do not yet know, but yeah. So let's see who's here hanging out. Garen is here. First indeed. I don't know why my highlighted chat is way over there. I don't know what I did. There we go. We got it back. Alison Silverland says second in the best. Every night we go upstairs to bring the kids to bed. Maybe they didn't do it tonight, but they always do like the first is the worst, second is the best. They're always battling, arguing who's in the correct position. That's that's something that goes on every night in our household. Late night cash grabbing. Perfect Prince says Lil Wayne. I don't know if that's something to do with the cash grabbing or what it is. How's it going, Gym Leader Pepe? Frostbite Labs. We got Ivy in here. Queen Metazu, her alternate username. We'll see if Queen Metazu comes back or if TCG, Trading Card Garage, stays out of the Metazu scene. Will be interesting to see how that goes in 2025. I'm definitely balancing my portfolio for sure. It is a constant thing. It is a constant thing to look at it, and if anything gets kind of lofty, if anything becomes too high of a percentage, you might readjust, allocate differently. L Dubs is shopping on Card Rush, dropping some large piles of cash. We got Skya with the rocket emoji and fire emojis. Love to see it. Skya getting the mega rare raids voucher on Tob #1. Hopefully he's ready to carry me through some Tob in a few weeks. I may or may not be currently chopping some U-logs on the side screen. I am like very, very close. Within the next couple days, I'm 46 tasks for my new region, and I am 630 points until my next relic. If people know what I'm talking about, it's old school RuneScape. If people don't know, I'll move on. Retro says collecting, yawn. One thing I'm actually excited to do. So I did partake in the past. Historically, I've partaken in the Elite Forum Secret Santa. Had a blast with it. I think I did it from 2015 to 2022. And then I ended up missing out on joining the 2023 one. Just completely I whiffed on joining it. And I've been doing the Professor Oak's one. The Professor Oak Discord Secret Santa. So I have that here. I've not opened it. I'm going to wait till Christmas to open it. But I have all my gifts that I've gotten over the years. I just have them everywhere. I actually ordered myself for the first time. I've never had a slab binder, but I'm kind of excited to get it. I probably only have a couple dozen slabs that will be going into it, but I think the one that I bought holds 80. I'm going to put some meaningful slabs to me. I'm going to put the little bit of my PC that's left. It's all things that are meaningful to me. At some point in 2025, I'll remake a video. Like 2 years ago, I made a video. The cards I'll never sell. I did it kind of like making it look like it was an investing video. The cards I'll never sell. As kind of like a clickbait thing. But they were just cards that were in my PC from having opened them myself, having a story with them, having them been gifted, whatever it may be. So I will have that slab binder going soon. A winter project is to fill in all my MetaZoo binders. I have over there on a shelf. That is where my slab binder will go too. But I have Cryptid Nation. They're out of order. I don't know why. I have Cryptid Nation, Nightfall, Wilderness, Seance, UFO, Native. I have all those binders right there. Most of them are mostly filled, but I need to just finish it out. Stevie TCG says understanding opportunity cost is a key pillar to early growth. I could have navigated it better across the past decade. And you're never going to do it perfectly. There's no such thing as perfectly without hindsight. With hindsight, it's like, okay, I could have done this, that, and the other thing. You can only do the best you can do with the information you have as of today. Alex, actually, Nostalgianomics made a good video recently. And I don't know if he was referencing me, or I don't know if other PokeTubers are talking a lot about opportunity cost. But he mentioned how sometimes getting too hung up on opportunity cost is bad use of your time. It's bad opportunity cost usage of your time. And that funnels right into like analysis paralysis. I did mention in my video, if you stuck around for the entire 30 minutes, opportunity cost is not only with respect to money, but it's with respect to time. And if you make a conscious decision like, oh, hey, I have 1,000 packs of these, and these have gone up to this, and I think this is going to do better, so I want to sell these. Not only do you have to pay fees, but you potentially, depending on how you're structured, depending on what your business is set up as, if it's even set up as a business, you might need to pay taxes on the gains from this, unless you're cash basis and you just roll it all into something else, some additional inventory. All those considerations, time and money and taxes and fees, all that stuff factors into the big thing that is opportunity cost. But as with anything, you can talk hours about all the nuance, all the little different disclaimer Dan scenarios, all the different caveats. Same arena, different games, different rules, yada yada. The things that I never stop saying and never will stop saying. Got hips and ships. We got basic. We got retro. We got Helder Vector, unknown. Basic. Basic taken disrespect by the collector talk, the negative collector talk towards Oh, Java's headed to bed. Oh, you said it 1 minute ago, so hopefully you will hear me say good night, Java. Thank you again for the gifted. Thank you for the raid. But yeah, I'm gonna try to catch up, and then I'll try to show the slabs, and then I'm gonna be hanging out for the next hour and a half minimum, maybe 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. We'll see. I've got some flavored seltzer water with me that we can talk about at some point, maybe. I know I was steered towards Olipop and some different things away from my Coca-Cola. But I can talk about that too. I started the year at 252. I weighed 227 this morning. My goal was 225. I might need to starve myself a little bit over the next 4 or 5 days. I did not do good at starving myself today. I might have eaten a lot of candy when I was making gingerbread houses with my kids. The third gingerbread houses they've made, I believe. But my mom sent me home with some extra gingerbread houses that we didn't make. And what am I doing? What am I doing talking about the gingerbread houses this early in a stream? Let me get to the comments and the chat. Hold on, I'm just trying to see where I have my highlight chat up, but I don't have my where I try to stay current with chat. I don't have that up. I know I'll probably do a bad job at staying current with it, but I should have where I can try. There we go. Now I have it up. So let's continue on. We will get there together. We got Purple Porygon. We got GM. We got Kiki Jiki. We got 66 Mustang. How's it going? How's it going, other Dan? Mick Nick. Saying hi to Kiki. Allison Silverland. I can't imagine your kids being competitive, Dan. Said with sarcasm. Did not know Lil Wayne. I know Lil Wayne. I just didn't know what the comment was with respect to. What PSA 10 slabs does PK have on the upcoming streams? I have no idea. The amount of slabs that have passed through my hands and immediately gone out to PK and Panga is mind-numbing. Taylor Swift on OSRS. Add me. Add me. I will type I am Ketchum All C. Ketchum All C. Ketchum All Collectibles is way too long to be username on many platforms, old school RuneScape included. So I just posted my OSRS handle if you want to add. Or actually, I think the way RuneScape works, I think you both have to add each other for it to work. I will try to add you right now. Taylor Swift. I think I added you. I know who Lil Wayne is. I just didn't know why it was commented in the chat. I didn't know if I said something or I don't know what the reference is. Oh man, retro. People call themselves Lil this and Lil that, but we only see their torsos on camera. These guys are cosplaying as Lil. Oh, that's hilarious. I sold over 500 slabs. I've never kept one. If you have any gray felts left, I think that would be my first for the PC. If you are interested, I did send almost every single one out. I can't reach them, but I don't know if you didn't mention if you want CJC or PSA or BGS. I have every flavor of gray felt hat. I only have a couple left with me. I do have BGS 9.5s. I have a couple BGS 10s. I have PSA 10s. I have PSA 9s. But they are not going to be here much longer. Here's the PSA 9s, actually. If you want one of these, especially, like if you want a 9, I have those on my eBay right now. Those would be the easiest. If you want a 10, I did do like an Instagram story the other day, and I sold 25 consecutive gray felt hats. And I didn't sell them at a premium. I thought about going for it, but I sold them at a slight discount. I think I was doing $4.75 each shipped. If you paid with Venmo or ACH or Wire or USDC, and 25 consecutive sold for, what was it? I want to say it was like $4.60 each, 11,500. So 25 of them sold. The rest of them, all of them except for like 2 or 3. I had a couple people reach out. Actually I had a couple people buy a couple from me at the 475. So yeah, if you want one, like reach out sooner rather than later. I guess later if you think the price is going to go down, and it very well might. I do have 2 more PSA subs. So there's not like a major sense of urgency. The ones I have currently on my desk might be gone soon, but there are hundreds more coming. So not like trying to pressure. It could be cheaper in the future. I'm just going to be selling at whatever market is. You didn't miss much, Glenn. Just some good old fashioned ranting as I always do. Yeah, my live chat is not even set up. Here we go. I see somebody said they can't hear me well, but then a bunch of people saying my audio is fine. So hopefully that's just on their end and they get it sorted. Appreciate you guys though, helping me out with the audio. I will verify quickly that I am on my Blue Yeti, which it does appear I'm on my Blue Yeti. Professor Oak in here. Frostbite Labs in here. Yeah, I will definitely make another MetaZoo video. MetaZoo Saturdays are officially back, but it is not every Saturday. It never was every Saturday. It likely never will be every Saturday. But I have officially brought MetaZoo Saturdays back because MetaZoo is coming back soon. I'm excited for it. As I have information. I have none right now, so I do not have MetaZoo Saturdays going. But one I will do is every binder. I might do another one. All these boxes are still here. I have these boxes on this little corner bookshelf behind me. I have all 7 boxes. I've never opened Chromie Cryptid Carnival yet, but I kind of want to do a box break of all 7 MetaZoo boxes at some point too. Let's see. I don't think I ever updated YouTube on the air alert thing. I had to stop air alert. Sadly, I am not much of a quitter. I don't like to think of, but for health reasons, I was doing air alert. For health reasons, I had to quit air alert. I could not walk for a couple days. Maybe let's save this for later in the chat. Let me leave the chat because I can't get out of there. I'm getting wrapped up in all these long rants. Let me go to. I don't think I have my camera fixed. I don't think I have my camera set up. Oh no, it's gonna show these again. So the same Java's getting double screen time because it's gonna show his 5 gifted again. Maybe it just shows the one. But yeah, let's pull up. Why is this not showing? I don't know why. Let me just do a new one. I don't know. I put my window capture onto this, and for whatever reason, it didn't go. So yeah, let me get it on the proper layer now because everything's messed up. It's still not on the right layer. That is on the right layer. So I have my former collection. What the thumbnail was, how many, we're 20 minutes in and we're finally talking about the thumbnail and the title. I have my former collection up for auction. One, shout out Greeny, the green shiz. He asked me, hey Dan, that Pikachu trophy is a premier collectible. Why did you not sell it on the Fanatics premier auction? So this right here, I kind of answered him in DMs, I believe. But let me know your thoughts in chat. Do you think it's bad that I am auctioning under regular weekly auction? Just like, hey, any plain old card, $5 cards can be in the weekly auction. Premier is like premier items. I believe they desire them to be 10,000 plus. I think they might require their 5,000 plus. They want them to be 10,000 plus. But the main reason, so if you go to Fanatics right now, and if you pull up the weekly auction 153, the default sorting on Fanatics, which I like, is high price. So the high-end items get seen first. The first item you'll see when you log into the weekly is mine. The first one you'll see is this Pikachu. 102 people have favored it already. This thing is standing out because of its status as the top echelon of the weekly auction. If I put it in Premier, now look what happens. Now he's blending it. Like I don't look at Premier. I rarely look at Premier as a consumer. I'm not buying illustrators. I'm not buying Tom Brady 101 patch auto whatever. It would fall to the bottom. So the default search on this apparently is featured, but let's go by high price. If someone searches by high price, they gotta scroll a long ways to see my Pikachu. My poor little Pikachu has to hide. I mean, I guess it would still be first page, which says something about Pokemon, that Pokemon's leading the way on a sports platform, both the Premier and the weekly auction. But that's truly like that's almost entirely my logic into why I chose the weekly auction versus the Premier auction. And then 2 is the bid increments. I think the bid increments are less of why I did it, but I think you have more bid increments on the weekly auctions. I think you have more freedom to place different bid levels. But yeah, so if you're ever on Fanatics and you want a quick way to get to that, in my description below, there's a link to all my weekly auction filter. But every week on Fanatics, I have this filter right here. I have the Catch 'em All Collectibles filter where my cursor is. We're going to click it, and we're going to see everything that's on it. And, like, not everything that on is mine. If you are interested, you can consign today or tomorrow or any day you want to. No rush. Always doing it. But the rate's down below me. I know it says 6,100 subs here, and then it says 6160 here. So this is the live thing from my backend analytics on YouTube. And this is one that gets pulled in from Stream Elements, which Stream Elements is just like broken. It just lags for whatever reason. But so yeah, we have Pikachus galore. Check out all the high-end Pikachus. If you want one wearing clothes, we got you. If you want one that is 1 of 100 awarded to an Art Academy winner, multiple, like I've got you on multiple fronts. If you want another one wearing clothes of high-end Nintendo IPs, got you there. Other Art Academy cards. A complete 151 Master Ball set. That is on consignment. That is available ending this coming Sunday, December 22nd. And Mysterious Pearl, that card is mine. I can't remember if that Alt Gengar is mine, but that card being over $1,000 now with Buyer's Premium, that's wild. I did not realize that was that high. We got a bunch of CGC 10 consignments, some WotC First Edition, some old school EX, Bubble Mew. I think that one's mine. Actually, Pristine, CGC Pristine. You do not see that often. CGC Pristine WotC, and there are several Legendary Collection reverse hollows. There are multiple Gym hollows, First Edition, CGC 10 Pristines. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I did want to go through the higher end especially. You will not see a Fanatics auction block without a gray felt hat for hopefully the next couple months. Hopefully they will be bleeding out over the next couple of months. ZNG Emporium on eBay as well. If you want to sell your cards on, and watch out, like, by no means are we ever intending to like dupe people or whatever, but people dupe themselves. So this card says Portuguese in the title. If James Z&G Emporium is out there listening, he will know where these cards came from. The amount of times that people get mad at me because they buy a Portuguese, which in Fanatics, I'm sheltered from that. I cannot get their messages. It's a beautiful thing, but the unpaid rate is still higher than any other card that I sell. This card specifically says Portuguese. Right in the title, it says Portuguese. Right on the slab, if you're looking at the image, it literally, if you read the card, I can't read that card because it's in Portuguese and I can't read Portuguese. So like, please, people, when you bid on things, please bid on things with intent to pay. Please know what you're bidding on. A large amount of alt arts will be Portuguese, but not all of them will be. The Bubble Mute earlier was not. A lot of them are not as well. So you just have to look at the card. That one's English. That one's English. But some are Portuguese. So watch out for that. Great cards. Great way to get the art cheaper if you are interested in the art at a significant discount to what the often like some I don't know what they go for relative to Japanese, but oftentimes they're significantly cheaper than English at a minimum. So yeah, bunch of cool cards as there are every week in the Catch 'em All Collectibles filter. I had to show those off. I had to talk about them because my collection, my final high-end pieces of my collection are going to be gone. The only slabs I have, I think the only singular slab, I don't know where it is. Hopefully it didn't go in a box to Fanatics somewhere. It's somewhere around here. But the only singular PC slab that I have left is my PSA 9 first edition Gyarados that like isn't a story. Like I didn't pull that one myself. I bought that one at one point. All the other ones that are in my PC I pulled or they were gifted, or I don't think there's any other stragglers around. Like some Rudy ones. I guess I have my PSA 10 Rudy set that aren't listed for sale anywhere. But yeah, my PC is pretty much gone at this point, which is the entire title and thumbnail of the video. But yeah, that's my whole thing for today. A little bit of self-promo for the auction block that's ending this Sunday. A little bit of self-promo for the Fanatics consignments. If anyone's interested, always feel free to reach out. Are you excited to pay 8 to 10 a pack for Prismatic once your wholesale allocation runs out from all your stream ripping? I've said this before to the PK and Ponga, and I've said it to other people too. If it's kind of a nice thing in some ways. I would rather just have a valuable product at the distributor that I could buy and then I could sell for a margin and then buy more and then sell more and then buy more and then sell more and have it be like sane and reasonable and semi-rational. But in the market that we're in, if it's impossible to get, it will be easy to get. Dan, what do you mean that doesn't make sense? If it's impossible to get, if ETBs are 100 plus, if everything's crazy, it will be easy to get because I'll be able to say, hey guys, I am paying 85% on Prismatic and I will get a lot of people reaching out and I'll be able to sell it on stream for 105, 110% probably. Hopefully it's somewhere to where it's not quite that expensive. And because it's kind of coming throughout the whole year. It's kind of like a Shining Legends-ish release where they did the Mythical Pink collections all year. It's coming out in multiple releases, like not all at once. I forget the exact timing of what items drop on the first launch day, and then a few weeks later you get this, and a few weeks later you get that. I don't remember the whole calendar, the whole schedule, but yeah, it'll be drip fed a little bit. I will have to be cautious. Like right now with Prismatic, Prismatic is a good, it's a very good analogy because it's literally the same set in, or at least the closest we get in Japanese. But right now, shout out _retrospecs on Instagram. You'll see him memeing in my chat all night long, probably. Busted my chops. But shout out to him. I buy most of my Japanese sealed product from him directly on Instagram. And I want to say, I don't want to quote the wrong price, so I'm going to pull up a spreadsheet where I dumped yesterday's price into. As of yesterday, Retro was selling Terrestrial for 65. So with Terrestrial at 65, I try to not keep like more than a few weeks worth of inventory. With Crown Zenith, me able to get it at 325 to 350 a pack, sometimes as little as 3 a pack maybe. If I was buying the Sea and Sky collections myself, I might be able to get it at 270 a pack or whatever it is. I'm comfortable having 6 months worth of Crown Zenith. I'm comfortable having a year's worth of Crown Zenith because I know it's a popular set. I like to set myself personally. And I think the price, it could go lower. Absolutely. It can always go lower. The floor, the real floor is always zero. But like the fake floor, the floor that we talk about on YouTube that's not real, but it's kind of there ish until it's not there. It's near ish to that floor. If a restock comes, if tomorrow, if Pokemon's been printing Crown Zenith ETBs for the last year straight, and they release 2 million ETBs through distribution, my price on ETBs is 30, generally speaking. So $3 a pack is like the floor, the wholesale floor, whatever. So I feel comfortable having thousands. I bought over 10,000 packs of Crown Zenith at $3 to $3.50 in the past month and a half. But I do not want to buy 30 grand worth of Prismatic. I don't want to buy 30 grand worth of Brastel. It could go up a lot, but it also could go down a lot. I pick my numbers based a lot on feels, based a lot on what the pricing is, how much it's being ripped on the streams, and a lot of it's mostly off vibes, though. Mostly off vibes. I'm trying to get things established so that when I pull the stream reports from Fanatics, that it like totals up, hey, you sold this much of this, you sold this much of this last week. And I can chart things and I can graph things. I'm just not there yet. We're only over 2 months into the live streaming. I'm not there. I don't have the spreadsheets set up, but I will get them set up in the future. Allison Silverland says, I might make Pokemon content on my Silver channel. Would that be horrible of me? I make lawn mowing content on my Pokemon channel. I make Metazoo content on it. I make RuneScape content on it. Do what you want to do. It's your channel. Well, that's my take on it. Probably the wrong take, coming from someone with 6,000 subscribers after going on 4 years now. So keep that in mind as you do or do not heed my advice. The Olipop I can't do. Stevia. I can't do Stevia. Question, why is Dan so cute? I don't know what Dan you're talking about, Oak, but I appreciate you. I've been doing a lot of lemon water. I hate moving. The Pokemon dentist is moving Saturday. I didn't move a whole lot growing up. I think I lived in one house for like a year when I was a baby, and I don't remember. But I lived in the house that I grew up in till I was like 15. For the first 15 years, I moved once, but I don't remember it. And then we moved 2 more times with my parents. And I lived in a few different apartments in college. But yeah, I didn't move a whole lot. I'm in the second house that I've ever owned. I owned my first house for 6 years. And I want to own this one for the next 20 to 25. When the kids move out, we'll downsize. But I hate the process of moving. I generally like where I'm at. Could there be better places? Probably. But I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. A lot of family around and stuff. So I'm not moving anytime soon. Ryan Galucci says, and apologies if I butchered that last name, what's your average return on buying raw cards, grading, then selling? Is it profitable and worth the effort? Check out some earlier videos that I made. If you enjoy the content, feel free to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out some of my backlog. I've made some great videos on this. Graded Edge is the website. It is available through the Pokenomics Patreon. If you want to join, there's a link in my link tree in the description below. But yeah. I have made countless videos, and I've talked about, do I have one handy? I don't think I have one handy. That's blasphemous. I do not have a Celebrations Charizard handy right now. That is very, very bad of me. I should PC one Celebrations Charizard. I can't believe that I haven't. Oh, wait, maybe I have one here. No, I don't. Crap. It's all just the Legendary Beast. But Celebrations Charizard. If you look at the numbers, let me pull up Graded Edge. Actually, we might as well just do it if we're gonna talk about it. Let's just do it. Let's log into Graded Edge. Let's look at celebrations. I don't know why it's loading so slow. Maybe everyone just tuned into it when I started talking about it. Celebrations Classic Collection, Charizard Holo. So here's a website. It is paywalled. It is Pokenomics Patreon exclusive. Sorry, there we are. So here is an inside look behind the paywall, through the paywall. $10 a month, Pokenomics Patreon. You will get access to this. What is your average return on buying raw cards, grading, then selling? Is it profitable and worth the effort? Here is all the math behind it. You can change the grading cost. You can change the shipping cost. You can change your selling fees if you're selling on eBay, if you're consigning with me, whatever you're doing. Here's the raw card price. Here's the PSA 10 price. Here is the PSA 9 price. All the math is done for you. These graded percentages are presumptions. Not presumptions. They're just the 10 rate at PSA. So you do need to be careful. If you buy 100, you might not get 64.28% 10s. That is what everyone who has submitted the PSA has gotten. That is with some amount of pre-grading. That is with some amount of like selection bias in only sending what you want to send. Like I send a lot. I'm fine getting some 9s because here they're showing kind of punishing. But a lot of these numbers, yeah, they fluctuate and they might not be perfect. But this one shows a 21% ROI. There might be, I'm not going to show them all because they're behind the paywall. But yeah, let me go back full. Let me search the paywall top plays and let me sort it by profit percentage. There are some cards that are 100% profit, 50% profit, 40% profit, all different kind of plays out there. And there's all different kinds of reasons why the ROI might be that high. The ROI might be 100% because the 10 rate is like 10%. And you need to be very careful with what you grade. And you're going to buy 10 and you're going to only be able to grade one of those. And there might be a 50% chance you get a 10, grading one out of your best 10. So it varies a ton depending on what you're grading. And the data's out there. Like graded edge is not unique data. Like Will did a great job with the website, but what he's doing is just compiling data from other sources, putting it in one nice clean package that does a lot of the work, automates the work for you. So it's not like unique information that he's discovered on his own. He's just pulling from eBay, pulling from PSA, pulling from all over the place, TCG Player, and doing the math for you quicker, which is great. So yeah, check that out if you're interested. Let me continue on. The guy. So somebody said they couldn't hear me. Spat says that guy doesn't hear brokies. He can't hear me because I'm a brokey. Ivy says meta to grimace emoji. How do we orchestrate it so we get red lights later? So anyone who is in the paywall, anyone who is in the Patreon and was in the office hour today. So I was talking about the paywall. I was talking about the Patreon a little bit. I might as well go full shill mode on that for a minute. Once a month, we do a deep dive into different data. It's actually my turn this month. So next weekend, not this weekend, the weekend of the 29th. 29th, we will be doing a live Zoom call. And I will be going in with Jake, and I will be doing, I don't know on what yet. I still not planned it. I'm procrastinating it pretty good. But I'm going to be doing a deep data dive on something. In the past, I've done it on pre-graded edge. I manually did what graded edge does now automatically. Well, not automatically. I mean, Will sets up all the scraping, all of this and that. It's automated for us, but it's not automated for him because he has to upkeep all that. But I've done historical booster box prices. You go to Pokedata, you go to TCG Player, you go to eBay, you've got 90 days of history. Maybe you've got 6 months. Maybe you've got a year of price data if you're lucky. I went everywhere. I compiled all the data I could from all the sources I could find, including my own purchase and sales records. And I compiled booster box data across the past 25 years. Did I get a data point for every year for every booster box? No. But I got the most filled in price history on booster boxes that I've ever seen anywhere. And that's just one thing that I did 1 month. If you joined the Patreon, you will get access to the last 3 years worth of stuff Jake and I have done. And every week, as I was talking earlier, the lights were red in my weekly office hours. 3 to 4 p.m. on Wednesdays, I do office hour, what we call it. Jake does his Thursdays from 4 to 5, I believe. But we are available in Discord, voice chat. Anyone can hop in, kind of like a YouTube live stream. So some people get salty, some people get mad about paywalls. The main thing I say, like my very solid, reasonable rebuttal is, hey, catch me live on YouTube every week. Like if you're salty that I charge $10 a month for deeper access, come here, hang out, ask me anything tonight. Ask me anything. I will answer almost anything. I mean, the more it is about Pokemon and business, the more likely I am to answer it. But I answer a bunch of stupid stuff too. Well, like If you've been here, you know what I'm talking about. We get into favorite foods, we get into favorite movies, all different kinds of stuff. But ask me whatever, and I'll answer for free here. If you want more access, though, if you don't want a YouTube live stream, some people don't want to ask a question in front of 100 people live on YouTube. So some people come to Discord, and some people pay $10 a month. So once a week, they can come in and they can ask me in front of 5 people, in front of 10 people. Sometimes it's 5, 10, 20 people. Sometimes it's like 1 or 2 people, the whole office hour. And if you don't like that, some questions are too private. So, some people share with me deep financial information. Some people share like my business is doing X, Y, and Z. Should I be accrual? Should I be cash? Should I be this, that, and the other thing? Some people ask very personalized questions in consults. So I do free on here. I do Poke Flips for free as well. DM me on Instagram. I answer way too many questions for free. I'll openly, honestly say. I answer more in depth for $10 a month. And then if you want to pay $100 an hour, I do that too. Some people get really salty when you talk about selling your time for 50 or $100 an hour. But no one has to pay it. No one has to pay the 10. No one has to pay the 100. But it's there if you want to. And some people want to. And some people get good value from it. And some people come back. So yeah, that's all that came from Allison Silverland asking how to get the lights red. And then I kind of got the lights red about paywalls. So that's all you got to do is talk about red lights and the lights turn red. What are we doing with old backs? Oh man. We do know now. I believe they've confirmed that the backs will be changing. So I do have some of my nice old backs up there. I've got a grill greaser Pete somewhere. I've got the Rudy Claws. I've got my partner promo right there. There's one right there, and there's a couple more you can barely see up there. What do we think of Soto to the Mets? That is a lot of ultra modern sealed Pokemon product that they spent. What was it, like $760 million? That could have bought a lot of pallets of Pokemon. That's what I think. I have no idea. We'll see how it goes. Dan bought 2 times on a recent Fnatic stream, had to pay 2 times full shipping. PK said it should only be 1 time full shipping. So 2 times within one stream. Like if you buy on Wednesday night and then you buy on Thursday night, you'll have to pay shipping each night. They can't group things across nights. But if you buy an item, you should pay $4.95 shipping, and then all the rest of your items for that stream will be free shipping. That's the way that it should be. Reached out to Fnatic support. They told me it's full shipping on each order. Unless they've changed it in the past week or something. As far as I understand, it's $4.95 one time. I do not believe it would be. If they were separate streams, though, it would be. So I'm not sure. I do feel like visibility is lower on Premiere. More eyes for Pokemon, yes. DGen Dude says, question, Merry Christmas, Dan. Do you see parallels between the Vivid Voltage Shining Fates time to the current market we're seeing now? Fears eerily similar IMO. Curious what you think. There is some percentage chance. And I know some people, I've made the correlation. Both have a Pikachu chase. Both have Pikachu on the ETB. Some people are very, like, defensive when you make a comparison between Vivid Voltage and Surging Sparks, and I understand it a little bit because I think they're scared and kind of worried that it might go back to 100, 140 years later, which would be like bad in some ways. But in my opinion, like, I just know this box could be 300 in 6 months, and it could be 90 in 6 months. If it's 90 in 6 months and you're buying it at 200 today, you're going to have a bad time. I'm not buying it at 200 today. I'm buying it 70 to 75% of that and then selling it immediately on streams. So, like, depending on your opportunity cost, which I made a video on a week and a half ago, I would sell this if I had it today, depending on my opportunity cost. Some people's opportunity cost is screaming, sell, 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 and they're not listening. But yeah, absolutely. So Dan, attribute percentages to that. I think there's a 20% chance this will be 300 in 6 months. I think there's a 20% chance they won't reprint it within the next 6 months and it'll be 300. Pretty low, but could happen. I think there's a 10% chance. I think there's a less percent chance it'll be 90. Then it'll be 300. I'll give a 10% chance that it's 90. Like all statistics, like all percentages, I'm just making numbers up, but I'm giving you like actually roughly what I think might be the case. I think there's a 70% chance that it's above 90 and it's below 300. That's a wide range. I think if I had to pick one singular price point for this to be in 6 months, I'll say 150. I'll say that they reprint it, but they don't reprint enough. That's my guess. I think there's a 30% chance that it's going to be 150, and then attribute the rest of the percentages that I didn't use, attribute them for between 150 and 200 or 300, and between 150 and 90, as you see fit. That's just one guy's random take. I've sold most of mine. This has outperformed in the short term significantly what I thought it would ever do. So I started with 38 cases of this. I have a lot less than 38 cases now. I think I just bought like 6 cases recently at 70% of market so that the live streams can keep going, because we were sold out. We were sold out of my 38 cases entirely. I put 4 on the pallet for future investment that I won't touch till 2030, but we were entirely sold out. So I had to buy more. But I'm buying it cautiously because I think it's going to go down. Yeah, the PSA 10 Master Ball set is cool. So I am one who says most times the sum of the parts is greater than the whole. Most times you will not do better selling things as a set. Most times you will do better breaking things up. But one thing with that set specifically, it's over 100 cards. A lot of the cards would fall sub 120, and they would net only 85% minus $5 per card. Given that they're doing it all at once, it's very likely that it's going to end over 2,400 all in, and they're going to be netting 95% of the total amount. So they would have been like nickel and dimed by fees had they done them individually, and they would have gotten kind of destroyed on that. So I think they're going to do significantly better, netting 95% of the total amount. Not that I think individually adding up all the individual amounts, like I think if you auctioned all 126 cards, I think it is, if you auction them all individually, I think you'd get more. But net after fees, I think you'd get less, because how many would be sub 120? Like most of them are sub 120. You would be eaten alive by the $5 fee. You'd be paying over $500 in $5 fees. So yeah, I think that one was an obvious case for selling things as a net. Bubble Mew, same price as first edition Dark Dragonite. Yeah, what a world we live in. So I've had a lot of people ask, Dan, you consign on Fanatics, you don't consign on eBay. The reason I don't consign on eBay is because I have the same public rates you do, and I can't do it better for you. The nice thing about Fanatics is I can sell your stuff through my Fanatics, and I can net you more than you would net yourself. Like I forget what the exact numbers are, but Fanatics above 2,400, they net you out like 92, 93%. I'm at 95. Between these ranges, they're more like 91, 90, 91. I'm a couple percent above that. I'm consistently above 120. I'm a couple percent higher than Fanatics themselves. So it's a no-brainer. James, the NG Emporium, if you are selling a card above $1,000 on eBay, he sells it for you for 7%. I can't touch that when I'm paying 12%. You can't touch that when you're paying 12%. So yeah, it's like an obvious no-brainer to use James if you're selling on eBay. It's an obvious no-brainer to use me if you're selling on Fanatics. You're welcome, James, for the free advertisement. I do sell through James myself. And I sell on my own eBay some too. Some lower end stuff that he has the sub $100 fee as well. But it's not just vintage, I don't think. I think a lot of the cards that I showed, like the trophy, I think the trophy will crush on Fanatics what it would do on eBay. It's easy to say that because there's no like comps. No one really auctions that kind of card on eBay. I think for a reason, because I think it would do more poorly. Historically speaking, they don't show up there as much. Same as the Art Academies. I think Art Academies auction significantly more frequently. Ponchos even. Ponchos overall, I think, sell more on eBay. But generally speaking, I want to say like the $2,000 plus stuff, especially, does really well on Fanatics, whether it's vintage or modern. I think black labels tend to do really well on Fanatics. You can look at any one thing and there'll be higher, lower. I can't say consistently across the board, but generally from what I see. But I sell on both platforms. I think there's not one that's universally better than the other. I think the best, kind of like CGC versus PSA versus BGS. I don't just pick one. Fanatics versus eBay, I don't just pick one. I sell on both of them, and I likely always will. Snackbread says, hey there, bummed. I just found your channel recently. Wish I would have found you years ago. Hey, today is better than never, right? So recently is better than never having found me. I'm glad you found me. Hopefully you can find a lot of good education, entertainment, whatever you're looking for here. Hopefully you find it. Fat Belly says Meta Who is still cheeks. Doesn't matter who's running it. That is a perfectly fine opinion for you to have. Everyone has their own. There's some saying about everyone has their own and they stink just like something else. Perfectly fair and fine. Just like Pokemon. A lot of people don't like Pokemon. A lot of people like it, but a lot of people don't like it. If you don't like it, that's perfectly fine. Don't buy it. Don't buy Metazoo if you don't like it. Retro, that would not free up liquidity. That would take me an hour to do, and I would net $5 for my time. That is a bad use of time. Triple Dylan RS loves RuneScape. Love to see it. Is Dan reading a different chat? No, I'm reading this one 20 minutes behind, like I usually do. Snackbread played the crap out of RuneScape back in middle school. Love to see it. I played a bunch back in school too. Cashmere Fire bought a ton of cards today. Let us know. What were you buying? Buying some grading plays, buying some PC cards, Christmas presents. Apparently, I think there was RuneScape cards years ago. I feel like that's been brought up many times, and I forget about it, and I relearn it. But I feel like there were RuneScape trading cards to some extent. I don't know. Yes, Catch 'em all C is my username. I am too far behind. I'm trying to get caught up. What do you think makes a good rip and ship stream? I like selling one-to-one. So I like, hey, you are in my live stream. Right now we're going to sell this card. Bids go up. I think an engaged streamer, someone who knows about the cards, like, hey, this is Japanese. This is Charmeleon. If the person asks, like, who's that little guy in the corner? What does that mean? Oh, that's the evolution box. That's something for the TCG. That's Charmander. Charmeleon evolves from Charmander. He evolves into Charizard. If people ask questions, someone who's knowledgeable, someone who can answer their questions, someone who knows like what sets things are from, someone who knows the names of most Pokemon. I don't know the names of all the modern Pokemon. I don't think either of my streamers know all of them either. But someone who, yeah, keeps chat engaged, kind of gets a feel for who they're selling to, start to know who they're talking to, and I can barely read this thing. Someone subscribed and I couldn't really read it that well because I have terrible text coloration. I need to fix all that for 2025, but thank you for your subscription. $100 an hour is cheap. Some people would be very mad for you to say $100 an hour is cheap for me to sell my time in consulting. But the market is getting saturated on certain platforms at certain times. I wouldn't say it's universally saturated, and I wouldn't say that some people couldn't overcome the saturation if you do it correctly. But I like selling one-to-one. I like, hey, we're selling this card, bid on this card. There's a lot of consumers, though, for mystery bags. There's a lot of consumers for all kinds of gambling games. I just don't want to be that. I think having a brand, sticking to it, doing what you like doing, having your streamers having fun, it becomes apparent when the streamers are having a good time. If the streamers aren't having a good time, the amount of Whatnot streams, the amount of Fanatics, the amount of eBay live streams I've tuned into, and the person's just like sitting there. They're sitting there like this, and nothing's running, and like no background music is going, nothing's happening. It's like, what is going on here? Is anyone having a good time? Because I'm not. So I think, yeah, like make it fun, make it, if people are asking questions, yeah, all that stuff. All that stuff. I don't think I could do it well. That's why I'm not the face of it. That's why Ponga and PK are doing it. That's why I'm outsourcing that side. I think I'm better to be the guy sourcing the inventory. That's what I'm doing. Pokemon Center says, I'm debating on buying 20 copies of Umbreon SAR for 300 each to hold. Do you think that's a no-brainer? Kind of seems... I don't know if that... Oh, seems like with Eevee and the food background will not come to English, will go up. I don't know. I know this is like one of the opportunity cost things. So for me, there's lower hanging fruit. I don't speculate much on card price go up. Where I speculate on price go up, not on this at 200. I buy this at 90. I buy this at 90. 92.50, 95, whatever my distributor sells it to me for. I buy these and I feel more comfortable that these go up over time when people rip them. When they're at 200 and 160, I sell more than I buy. I don't really buy much. I buy at 70% to sell them immediately. But yeah, I don't speculate on $300 cards potentially going up. Might it go up? Yes. Might it go down? Yes. I feel more confident in other things like this, in other things like the tax advantage S&P 500, because if your sole goal is capital appreciation, your dollar doesn't care how it does it. And your dollar doesn't know what it's invested in, and it doesn't care. If your sole goal is capital appreciation, there's so many things I would go to before I would go to an Umbreon SAR for 300. That might double in 6 months. But opportunity costs. Do you have credit card debt? Do you have this, that? Like the whole line, the buckets, all the things I always say. No new updates to share right now, but there will be updates, yes. How's it going, Simple Gil? Yes, prismatic evolutions, allocations are very rough. Mine are too. I probably have 2 weeks worth of live stream inventory with my prismatic allocations. 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, my entire prismatic allocation will be gone if we rip it at the rate that we rip surging. So that tells you how much prismatic I got. Is collecting dead? No. We're deep in it. If you're one of the 100 people right now deep down this YouTube rabbit hole, I don't know how you found me, but you found me. You are not the average Pokemon consumer. The average Pokemon consumer buys probably a couple $100 a year worth of stuff. They probably don't sell anything ever. They only consume. They don't sell. The average consumer still doesn't grade. Grading is like a deep down the rabbit hole thing. It's getting more and more mainstream every day, with the million slabs a month being graded at PSA, hundreds of thousands at CGC. But it is still not. It is still not the mainstream collectible consumer has graded cards. Like that is not the case. I'm quite confident in that. I'm curious, what was your percentage gain from the Surging Sparks booster box before you decided to sell? The first ones I sold, I mean, I would have been selling this day one if it was a $100 box. I would have been selling it not as a $100 box though. I would have been selling it probably at like $350 a pack. I would have been selling it by the pack on live streams. I'm always selling. I'm always buying. Do not mimic me. Do not copy me. We're all in the same arena. We're all in the arena of Pokemon. We play by different rules. We have different goals. We're optimizing for different things. So like, don't copy me. Don't copy anyone else, because I am fully transparent about what I do and why I do it. But yeah, my story is different than yours. So I was selling from the start. I will be selling. If this becomes a $150 box, I'll be selling it. If this goes to 120, I'll be selling it. If it goes to 90, I'll be selling it. Because I'm constantly buying, constantly selling. Everything. Everything. Rarely do I pay 100% of market on stuff. Occasionally I do. Occasionally a set will come out and I'll pay $95 a box through my distributor. And P Football Pete will be selling it on eBay for $95 a box. And I'm like, what is this world that I'm living in? That my wholesale price is the same price the consumer is paying. That is how it generally goes. That is how it goes most of the time, historically speaking. So in those instances, like, that's why I started live streaming. I started live streaming because there's so many times historically that you cannot sell product because you'd lose money. You'd lose money shipping it. You'd lose money paying the fees. And yeah, that's I'm always buying, always selling. So if you only buy and don't sell, if you're investing purely and you're not flipping, you're not doing all the things that I'm doing, don't try to emulate me exactly. Listen to what I'm saying if you want to. Use it to guide what you're doing a little bit maybe, but don't blindly follow me or anyone, ever. Ever. Like, do your own due diligence, consume all the content you care to consume, take all the perspectives, make your decisions, and optimize for you based on your time opportunity cost, your capital opportunity cost, all the things that I'm always saying. Thoughts on the recent 151 bundle drop? I'm personally selling the bundles I got with the expectation of a massive reprint coming early next year. Yeah, I have no idea. I have a bunch of 151, thousands of packs because the streamers rip it all the time. I'm getting the Blooming Waters collection. I'm only getting a little bit of it. I'm getting a week's worth of streams of Blooming Waters, and then that'll be gone. Will they reprint more in the future? I don't know. The amount of inventory I maintain in each set. Like Crown Zenith, I am deep in Crown Zenith right now. I might have 6 months to a year's worth of Crown Zenith because the price is low and I don't see it going much lower. 151, I'm kind of on the fence on. It's almost a year and a half old now. By the time Blooming Waters comes out, it will be about a year and a half old. Historically speaking, most sets get printed for about 2 years. So I could absolutely see more reprints. Will they only be the Costco restocks? Will they only be this and that? Will we get more Blooming Waters? Will we get more ETBs, PC ETBs? I don't know. So I have maybe a few months worth of 151. I don't want to stock it quite as deeply because it's a lot more expensive. It could come down a bunch. There's a future. There's a percentage I could allocate towards my thought that 151 could be $4 a pack this summer. It absolutely could be. Right now, what's market? $8, $9 a pack. We sell them on stream for $10 a pack. 151 could be $4 a pack this summer. I don't think it will be, but it could be. And you need to like attribute certain percentages to all these different outcomes. It could be $15 a pack this summer. It could be $20 a pack this summer. All these different outcomes. I don't know. No one knows. No one knows. Yeah. I don't know. I know it's not like the answer people want to hear, but what am I saying versus what am I doing? I have thousands of 151 packs that I've bought between 6 and 7 a pack in the past month or so for my live streams. I want to have, like, whenever the bottom comes in for 151, I don't want to look back and say, crap, I wish I got more of that. But yeah, I'm probably going to maintain my inventory at a few thousand packs. And if it goes to 15 a pack before it goes to 5 a pack, I'll be like, dang, I wish I had bought more. But I didn't have the liquidity. My opportunity cost didn't allow me to have more than a few thousand packs. So that's all I had. And that it is what it is. That's just the way that I go through this. Someone once told me that 80% of statistics are made up. Do you or most people consign only graded cards? My daughter wrecked the car we bought her. Now I got to buy another, thinking about selling my raw collection. So I buy raw collections, but I don't consign them. I buy them for the live streams. If you want to sell them, feel free to reach out. Sorry I hate about the car. Generally speaking, I buy sub $30 singles for 70%. If you have higher end stuff, I might buy it. I might buy it for a higher percentage towards 80%, depending on what it is, depending on if it's gone through, sifted through for like anything gradable, or if it's all like packed to sleeve, not been sifted through for grading, I might buy it for up to 80, 85% if it's like really good stuff. So feel free to reach out. A lot of other people buy it. As far as consigning raw, DC Sports, you can send individual cards to consign sell raw. It doesn't work out well for cheap stuff. A lot of it gets kind of wrecked. Sky, that one guy, he actually does TCG player consignments. He runs my TCG player, so that's an option too. What's it called? ComC. Check out my cards. They have a consignment service. It takes months. It takes like months to get your cards through there, but they do consignments, single card consignments through ComC, through eBay. A lot of options out there. One thing that I will say, 10 years I've been in Pokemon. 10 years I've been back in Pokemon since 2014. The amount of outlets, the amount of liquidity, the absurd amount of options that you have for all your different investments, flips, scalps, whatever you're doing in this hobby, the amount of platforms, the amount of outlets you have for everything is mind-blowing compared to what it was 10 years ago. People say like, oh, I wish I had the prices of 10 years ago. You do not wish you had the liquidity of 10 years ago. You do not wish you had the lack of options of 10 years ago. The space has built out so much. It's crazy how far we've come. Liquidate all your Pokemon product and go all in on MetaZoo First Edition. Resell in 2 years and you outperform live streams. Believe. I can never go all in on anything because I constantly need to have inventory to sell through the live streams. So I'm churn and burn. I'm quick flip. I need to feed the live streams. I'm buying at 70%. I'm selling at 90 to 100%. That just needs to be done. I plan on making a video basic. Obviously, I will be biased and I will transparency, all that good stuff. Honest, like I will be honest about all of it. But it's hard to get the data. It's hard to get sufficient data to compare Fanatics to eBay. Like say you look at this card. Say you want to look at this card. How do you isolate? So in the past 2 months, this card has probably sold thousands of times on eBay, and it's probably sold 100 times on Fanatics or something. The amount of data points would be high, but the amount of variance in auctions is so much Like this would be one of the better cards to do though, because you do have tons of data points. This would be one of the best cards to isolate it. If you try to do a card like this, well, like this is an expensive card. This might have only sold 10 times on eBay and 2 times on Fanatics, and months apart. Like you can't get data on, oh well, it sold 4,000 here and 3,000 there, but there was 3 months between and the market moved in between. So yeah, you need a lot of cards like this, and you need a lot of data points. If you did Moonbreon, if you did Greyfelt Hat, but then inherently, you're not going to get a good feel for how do trophy Pikachus vary, how do art academies vary. Those things sell so infrequently, you can never definitively say that this platform is better than that because you will never get the data set you need to do that. So yeah, just the problem of the data will never and can never exist for certain cards. There you go, Cashmere Fire buy-in for raw for grading. Love to see it. Thoughts on $6 MetaZoo second edition boxes? I did not buy any additional because I have my sealed 4 cases that I want for all the sets that I want them. But depending on what you're doing, depending on opportunity costs, blah, 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 I think those could be a good buy. I think they could age well. If you want to just rip them and go hunting for Mothman and Bigfoot and whatever your chase is, I feel like that's a pretty crazy buy for, what is that, 16 cents a pack. 16 cents a pack. That's pretty reasonable. How's it going, PokeChef? PokeChef opened his Secret Santa for me earlier today. Checking in on his Santa Claus, and Grimer says no, checking in on his sugar daddy. Oh, man. eBay Live might be happening in 2025. We'll see. The pinched hand emoji definitely got me going straight to chef every time. Purple Porygon says Dan is 100% right. If Pokemon becomes a job you no longer enjoy, then just get a new job. Yeah, like I do this full time. Not everyone wants to. Not everyone will. So what's right for me is not necessarily right for you. I do this full time. Nick does this full time. James does this full time. Rusty does it full time. Weedle does it full time. I know tons of people doing this full time. What's right for me is not right for them. I'm coming at this whole space a different way than Rusty is, than Nick is, than James is, than Chris is. Like, we all do it differently. And we're all optimizing for different things too. We all live our personal lives very differently. Zach, Gem at Pokemon. Jake, Pokenomics. John, Pokemon Radar. Well, John's not full-time Pokemon, but everyone has different goals in life. Everyone has different living situations. Everyone has different family situations. Everyone has different everything. Personal finance is very personal. And how you optimize in this space, whatever way you're trying to enjoy it. A lot of people aren't maximizing finances. A lot of people are maximizing enjoyment. I'm not solely maximizing finances. I'm maximizing finances while also enjoying life and minimizing the tasks that I don't like to do. And yeah, everyone's equation is different. There's no optimal. There's no one absolute optimal thing to do and way to do it. Hello, is the recent surge in 151 booster box all from the minute-long PC and Walmart reprint? Booster bundles must be? I don't know. I'm not one that buys those restocks. I don't have the bot notifications. I guess I am in the Rattle Discord. I signed up for a couple of the roles just to see. I wanted to see how frequently people get pinged. Let me go in. Let me open up my Discord. I'm not going to share Discord, but I'm going to open it up and I'm going to look at the Rattle Discord. I have 618 notifications. I think it was less than a week ago, and I have my notifications muted. So it's like they're not actual notifications. But when I look at my Rattle Discord, it shows the number 618. I think I've gotten pinged, muted, 618 times in the past 7 days. That's a full-time job looking at those stalkers. I don't buy from those things. I buy from people that buy from those. I buy from people that go to their Costco. I buy from people who, whatever else they're doing. I just don't have the time. I'm full-time Pokemon and I don't have the time to buy from those. Couple people giving commentary on the Umbreon $300 card. There are certain cards that probably you could point to that have gone up, but yeah, I never tell people what to do or what not to do. But I kind of said why I don't do that personally. I do all these other things. Adding a little bit more why I wouldn't do that. Historically speaking, not all of them, but many of them, many cards out of the gate go down significantly, as Mega Evo Mart says, as the Drix perspective says. Um, there's just a lot working against you. Could you make money? Yes. Could you lose a lot of money? Yes. I just feel safer in other things that I'm doing over that, personally. DGen dude, appreciate you asking the question. I'm getting close. Wait. Am I? Yeah, I'm seeing live chat. Okay, my chat was messed up. Wait, where am I? My chat just refreshed and it lost all my stuff that I had highlighted. Oh, there we go. There's DGen dude. But yeah, thank you for asking. Thank you for asking. I'm getting relatively close to catching up with chat. Whenever I catch up with chat, whether it's in 5 minutes or whether it's within 2 hours from now, I'll probably end. A lot of times I only need one question to get me another 5 or 10 minutes if you ask the right question. Sometimes 20 or 30 minutes. But yeah, feel free to keep asking questions. I will keep answering them. Um, I don't buy individual stocks at all. I'm always hearing about Palantir and Tesla and this, that, and the other thing. Going back to high school, going back to college, going back to the break room table at work. I've heard so many different things over the years. I just don't do it. I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the experience. I don't have the capital for me to play in individual stocks. So I don't do it. All my traditional stuff is SP 500, VU, VT similar. Target date funds, a small amount. So I'm passive in that stuff, and I'm active in cardboard. I'm actively trading in cardboard on the daily, and I'm passively in all that stuff. I just don't play around with it. After the large 151 booster bundle reprint that just hit Walmart and PC, will the Blooming Waters drop be the last reprint restock? Maybe. I cannot answer yes or no. Some YouTubers out there might answer yes or no. I will say it's a 20% chance that it's the last reprint restock. I'm going to allocate a percentage because that's always what it is. I will never know, but I'm going to operate under the presumption that some amount more will come. Will it come through my distributor? Will it come solely through Costco, Walmart, Target? I don't know. But as I said, I'm going to stock about a few months worth of live stream backlog pack inventory. And if it goes up, if it runs away from me, at least I'm in it a little bit. If it gets hammered down to almost nothing like Crown Zenith, if it gets hammered down to $3 a pack, I will buy it in mass at $3 a pack. So the big thing I always say, don't go all in on one play. Don't go broke on good deals in case great deals might come along that you might not allow yourself to get into, having gone broke on good deals. So what I mean by that is like say you love 151. I love 151. I think 5 years from now, 151 could be $20 a pack. 151 definitely could be that. I'm bullish on it longer term. Will it definitely be that? No, but it could be. Absolutely. I want to have a lot of it, but I don't want to put 50 grand into it at 7 a pack and then have it go down to 3 a pack and not have 50 more grand to put into it. So what I'm doing today is I probably in the past month and a half, I probably bought 3,000 packs. That's like 20 grand. That's almost 20 grand. So my thinking is put 20 grand into it now. And if it goes down to $3 or $4 a pack this summer, put 20 more grand into it. Put 30 more grand into it then, and get a ton of packs. 30 grand at $3 a pack, that's 10,000 packs. If it goes to $3 a pack by the summer, I will be buying several thousand packs to be stocked up for the future. But as of right now, I just don't know with enough certainty that I feel comfortable buying 50 grand worth. And whether it's $50 or $500 or 5,000, 50,000, $1 million, everyone's numbers are different. But I'm just sharing mine. All I can share is my situation, my numbers, because that's all I have access to. Castle Strong says, found out I grossed 5.5K on TCG Player sales. Then I realized I spent 7.5K on product. Next year is going to be nuts, especially since I'm just now starting to grade. Congrats on the big sales numbers, big buy numbers. If you're cash basis, it sounds like you have no income to report for 2024, so that's great. You're not going to have a big bill come tax time in 2024. Sorry, 2025. Is the live stream your biggest focus now ahead of your own eBay store? Yes. The live stream, and so Fanatics. Fanatics has by far, I'm wearing Fanatics merchandise. Rangers have been on a hard skid right now. Rough times. Hopefully they turn it around soon. But 20 years on eBay, and I was hopeful. Go look back. I'm actually excited. 2024, I did predictions for the year. And I was definitely talking about getting contracted with eBay. I was definitely talking about getting rates. Conversations were happening. It didn't happen in time. It didn't happen the right way. So I didn't expect, and I'm excited to see what I theorized for the year in 2024. But a year ago, if you had asked me, I did not expect that I would be abandoning eBay. Not entirely, but so heavily. I did $2 million on eBay this year. I'm on pace. Unless I start eBay Live, I might only's a weird word to use, but like I might only do $800,000 to $1 million next year on eBay. Maybe even less. I'm using D&G Emporium's eBay a little bit too. So do you count that or do you not count that? I don't know. My eBay though. Fanatics, I need to look. I counting live, I did $1 million this year. I did $1 million this year, starting from scratch on Fanatics. Next year, I hope to do 2 to 3 million. I might do in excess of 3 million on Fanatics next year. If I hire a third streamer, independent contractor, and I third or fourth streamer, and some of that time's on Fanatics, if I minimize how much I do on eBay Live, I could do 3-4 million next year on Fanatics, counting consignments, counting live, everything. But we'll see. I'm excited to do my 2024 recapping my predictions on 2024. So 3 videos I'm going to do guaranteed in January. 1, recapping 2024. Here's what I did. Here's what I sold. Here's what I bought. Like, here's the year in total. What am I doing in my business? And then plans for 2025. That'll be 1 video. Maybe that'll be 2 on its own. And then I'll recap. Hey, in 2023, I predicted what I'm going to do in 2024. Or like the first week of 2024, I predicted what I do in 2024. How well did my predictions go? I had certain predictions for what I was going to do with MetaZoo. Those did not go that well because MetaZoo ceased to exist. But now it's coming back. So I'll make my predictions for like, what am I going to do with Meta 2? What am I going to do with Meta? And I might not know by then. I don't know as of today if I'll be mass box breaking. I don't know if I'll be a partner. I don't know if that'll be a thing. I'll be interested to see. But yeah, I'll predict the best I can. I'll audit my predictions that I made before. And then I will also predict for 2025. Hey, a new year just came. I will make big, bold predictions on Meta 2. I will make big, bold predictions on Fanatics, eBay, whatnot. I'll make big, bold predictions on a lot of different topics in the hobby. I'm excited. But as of today, if you like asking me today, my biggest thing above all else is Fanatics Live. And my second biggest thing, very, very close, is Fanatics Collect weekly auctions. Those are my 2 biggest things by far. Everyone I know who wants to do it full-time loves to complain full-time. Thoughts? There's a lot of people who are just complainers about everything in general. I used to work with a bunch of 9-to-5ers. Not that I don't complain about certain aspects of this job. I'm complaining about complainers right now. But a lot of people just go through life complaining about this, complaining about that, not really doing anything to improve their situation. And it's like, I don't know. It just is what it is. It is what it is. Basis going full-time collector. If you do it right, I mean, you could be a full-time collector and document your journey on YouTube. And you could make money. You could make money never selling. I think a lot of people do it. A lot of the mainstream channels are more collector, I would say, than flipper. So you can definitely do it. Miriam SAR was 800 to 1K. It's 75 now. No card is safe, not even Umbreon SAR. Yeah, I mean, I've never really speculated significantly in singles or slabs. I like sealed. I like sealed above all else, opportunity cost wise. In Pokemon investing, speculating. I just work my regular 9 to 5 job and doing Pokemon on the side. To me, it's a win-win scenario. Don't have to sell my cards to pay rent. I did it for 2014 to 2020, even to early 2021. I was a full-time engineer and I did Pokemon on the side. Did I do it? I guess the level of seriousness in which I did it ramped up over the years. I did a video on my YouTube, 10 years of selling Pokemon, and I showed you my journey from 2014 to end of 2023, 10 years. I did that video must be in early 2024, so that video is about a year old. And I showed you how my gross sales by year. I went back and I found all my compilations and I gross sales by year. And I showed my journey. And you could see the year that we had our first kid. You could see the year that we bought our house. You could see the year that we had our second kid. Like you could see the fluctuations. You could see how my life was affecting it. And the start of that, I had no kids. So I could do more time. I could do more time on it. I was more free to do that. Again, everyone's situation is different. So not everyone can work a full-time job and do Pokemon on the side and take care of their whole family situation. But if you can do it, that's great. And the thing that the thing that made me take a leap, which I would call what I did quitting my job, less of a leap, more of just like a small step, a side step, a step forward, even not even like a step backward. I I quit my job as an engineer when I was working 40 to 50 hours a week as an engineer and only 30 hours a week as a Pokemon seller, and my income was surpassing what I did full time on the side. So, yeah, it wasn't much of a leap when I quit, and some of that was selling long-term capital gains from the boom, yada yada, all that. But I was making solid money from flipping too. So flipping was going on, selling backlog was going on. It's hard to separate out exactly how much was backlog versus new money. But yeah, I had a very easy choice to quit my job because it's like I have to go for this. Cost of living, no debt, all that stuff, all those things combined. Sugar Mama allowed me to take the leap, take the step. I keep saying take the leap. All about that double dip. A lot of double dippers in the hobby. Has your PO ever told you that your PO box is receiving too many packages and to stop it? No, it's really weird. It's unfortunate too, because if you have a crappy post office, shout out to my post office, my postmaster, all the clerks. I know everyone by name. There's like 5 people that work at the branch, counting the delivery drivers, counting everyone. Awesome. Best post office in the country, in the world. Uh, I've had postal workers at other bigger city branches that like it's like this is your job. I bring to you 200 packages and you get that attitude, you get that sigh. It's like ultimately at the end of the day, this is your job. And I don't think they are allowed to decline packages. Like they will suggest for you to do scan forms. If you bring 100 packages a day and you don't use a scan form, like, please use a scan form. Help them out in the ways that you can. But if you do a certain volume of packages and you can't help it, it's like, it is what it is. I used to have one. I had the big one, and they told me, like, hey, all the stuff you get doesn't fit in your big one. Why are you paying so much? Get the small one. Because all they do is they put a slip in my small one that says, hey, you have 10 packages in the back. And I talk to them all the time, and, like, I know I'm making their job harder. But where I work too, my branch is one that actually could someday be downsized. My branch is a small branch. It could be absorbed in. I have a buddy. I have multiple friends who like work with the post office, and one of them was saying like that one's being reviewed. Kind of that one was like somewhere on the radar for being downsized and absorbed into another one. I don't want that to happen, and presumably the people that work at mine don't want that to happen either. My volume does something to to keep that being open, right? So it's so weird for them to say like you're getting too many packages. Like what are you talking about? You guys are the post office and me giving you business should be good. It should not like you shouldn't be mad about it. I definitely, in the next week, I will be getting Amazon gift cards, Dunkin' gift cards. I will be getting various things to go and share with them and show my appreciation. Even though they're just doing their job, they're doing it really well, at least mine. So I want to take care of them. They take care of me. They do a great job. So yeah, but it's so weird. Like I've heard some bad stories, and it's like, what do you do? I don't know how to advise you. Maybe try to talk to the postmaster if you're having issues with one specific clerk. If the postmaster's a jerk too, you can probably escalate that up to their boss if you want to really Karen them. Which if they're treating you like trash, you're entitled to get some amount of respect and yeah, I don't know. That's just a crappy situation if you're having an issue. And maybe LDub's situation is not this bad, but I've heard anecdotally some nightmare stories that I just don't have an answer to, and I'm glad I've never had to deal with. I've dealt with a couple individual people at former bigger city post offices, but never anything too bad, thankfully. OG Weedle Farmer says complaining is like being on a rocking chair, something to do but gets you nowhere. Yes, absolutely. Who's going to stream for you on eBay Live? I mentioned it in my video. So if anyone made it into my video 30 minutes, and if anyone makes it into my live stream an hour and a half later, there's 100 people here right now. If you are interested in streaming for me in 2025 and beyond, DM me, reach out, shoot your shot, give me your elevator pitch as to why you should be the one streaming for me. I said this in my video too. It is extremely likely that the person who comes on as my third streamer, so as of today, I have Ponga and I have PK. They're my only two streamers as of right now. It is extremely likely that if you are reaching out to me now, if you reach out to me tomorrow, next week, next month, you're probably not going to be my third streamer. I've already talked to, above and beyond Ponga and PK, I've talked to at least 5 other people. And it's quite possible, it's most likely, significantly most likely, 95% chance that the third streamer will be one of them that I've already talked to. And I've probably already talked to more than 5. But like, don't let that prevent you from reaching out. Reach out, throw your hat in the ring. I am looking for a third streamer to either do eBay Live and or Fanatics. I will talk about this more in more videos in the future, but it doesn't hurt to throw the probe out. And it's going to be someone that I know quite well. It has to be the trust level needed. I need to send you thousands and thousands of packs, and I need to trust that you're not going to scam one, our customers, and I need to trust 2 that you're not going to scam me. If I send you thousands of packs, and with packs it's easier. My third streamer, I intend to be more pack rips, less slabs and singles. The amount of effort it would take me to babysit, I sent this stack of singles to Ponga, and then, oh, did that 57 single, did he ever sell that one, or did he steal that one from me? I can't have that going on. I can't do that. I'm never going to have to do that with anyone I hire. But packs would be easier, to be fair. It's like, hey, I sent 1,000 of this. The stream sales reports show, and I could monitor that over time very easily. But regardless, it's going to be someone that I know quite well. Very likely it's going to be someone that I've met in person. It just has to be that way. There has to be a high level of trust. And I've probably already talked to them. But if you want to stream, if you think it could be a cool thing to do on the side, if you're full-time Pokemon already and you want to make what could be like a pretty solid hourly rate, feel free to reach out. Worst thing is we talk a little bit about it and it doesn't end up happening, and maybe you do it on your own. Maybe you do it for someone else. I know, like Weedle has a couple people doing it for him. Weedle had Chef do it for him, and then Chef went on and did his own thing. Someday, if PK or Ponga went and did their own thing, I would fully support them. Like they're independent contractors. They are not my employees, and they are able to stream for anyone they want to, if they want to. Like, I try to compensate well, and I hope they're very happy. I'm very happy with them so far. I hope they continue to stick with me if it works out for them, mutually beneficial, all that stuff. But yeah, like, absolutely feel free to reach out, shoot your shot if you're interested. You never know. I wouldn't have thought I'd be doing this full time, but here I am because I joined a forum, because I created an Instagram, because I created a YouTube, I started a podcast. All those things happened because I like put myself out there and reached out, and I'm glad I did. All the times I've put myself out there, and I made a, like, 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, probably. I made a video about putting yourself out there. I think that video probably aged well. I don't listen back to my old videos very rarely, but I think that video would have aged well because I'm just recapping that video right now. It's midsummer 2025 and Basics Beasties channel has 12K subs. Boom meme. The boom gif. Let's Rocket is also an engineer. Thrifty's preemptively unsubscribing to the Basic Trainer rebrand to Basics Beasties. I like it. I like it. I am double subscribing. I will make alts to subscribe on that if it comes. He's going to make that a segment. Island Hustle says, I sell stuff sometimes through Facebook Marketplace locally, but sometimes someone will message out of state and ask to ship it to them. How can I trust sending it and securely receive payment? So with me, and I think you know this, Island Hustle, and I think a lot of people in chat right now know this, you can trust selling to me because I've had tons of people sell multi 6 figures, maybe even 7 figures. Like if you count consignments, shipping on trust, I have handled millions of dollars of people's cards and bought from them. They send first, I pay later. So that trust is there with someone like me. I would vouch for, the vouch culture is always funny, but like there's only a small handful of people I would personally vouch for. I would vouch for James. James is not going to steal your cards if you can sign with him. I would personally vouch for Nick, old school Pokemon. You can send to him up front and he will pay you on the back end. Rusty, like I hate when I start listing names. I know there's a lot more names I could add to that, but I'm going to stop there before I get too far because I'm definitely going to leave some people out. I guess let me shout out PK Ponga, Retro Skya, because those are people that I personally have stuck my neck out 5 figures plus of inventory, 5 figures plus of capital. I've fronted them and them doing work, them whatever they do with it. So that's like a short list of people that I would entirely trust. If that trust isn't there though, you can't really. I mean, you can do PayPal goods and services, but a lot of people don't want to receive that. A lot of people want Zelle only, wire only, all that stuff only. So it's like, do you want to sell to me for 70, 75%? Maybe they're paying 80%, but maybe they scam you for 100% of it. Maybe they pay 0%. You might, like a lot of people, most people I think are good, but opportunity can create criminals out of people that are otherwise good. It's a sad reality in life. If you have a room of 100 people, I would say that like inherently probably 90 people at random would be generally good people. But if people are put in a scenario where they are 95% sure they can get away with something, or even if they like, if the money amount is enough that they know they won't get away with it, but they will get away with it in that they like won't end up in jail, but they'll be blasted on Rattle, blasted on Instagram, Facebook, wherever. A lot of people, like RuneScape, I'm playing RuneScape right now, I'm cutting use. The amount of times I've read on Reddit that someone lended an item in a 25-year-old video game to a friend that they've had for years, an item that sells on the second market that you're not allowed to do. You can't sell RuneScape items. But people will like abandon their multi-year long friend over like a $300 twisted bow. That's sad. It's so sad how like cheaply people will sell out their morals and stuff, and how small amount of money they'll throw away a friend in a bond with someone else. But that's just like a sad reality in life. The amount of people in that room, 100 people, 90 of them are probably generally good. If they have the opportunity to steal $1,000 from somebody and they know 100% that person will never find out, I don't even want to wager what the number would be. A sad amount of people would steal. A sad amount of people would do that. And yeah, money can make people do bad things. Opportunity can make people do bad things that they otherwise wouldn't do. And it's kind of sad. And I never want to be made sad about having found out, like, oh man, I hired this person to stream for me and they decided to like steal from me. They've been stealing from me and it took me a few months to find out. And now I need to like, I never want to have to, I would talk about it on my channel. I would, full transparency, Dan, I would out somebody. I would absolutely do that if they stole from me. I don't ever want to have to do that. Please, please no one ever make me do that. Yeah, but that's a long, ranty, sad conversation that I just had. Uh, but the answer is like the 12% fee of eBay is a trusted third party inserting themselves into the middle of a transaction. eBay authenticity guarantee, because there are dirtbags out there that will scam you and steal from you. There are people that will send you an empty box back. There are people that will sell you an item and send you an empty box. There are dirtbags out there that will steal. So eBay has to create authenticity guarantee to insert themselves as a trusted middleman. It's a sad state of affairs, but that is what uh the bad apple spoils the bunch, whatever else you could say. Yeah, that's I don't know how to like create trust where there isn't. The best systems for that cost money: PayPal, eBay, all these other things. But the reason you're trying to transact on Facebook Marketplace is to get around the fees. But that's where you find the first time you get scammed for something on Facebook Marketplace, you come to find that like a 75% offer from someone trusted that you know is not going to scam you. That's a pretty reasonable offer. By the time you take in everything into account. Thanks for being here, Snack Bread. It still blows my mind that there are more people than I graduated high school with. I graduated with a class of 89 people, and there are 96 people currently watching live. Still blows my mind. Blows my mind. I was a chemical engineer. Some people in chat are gonna give me some. They're going to bust my chops a little bit because it's like a meme on my channel. I used to always say I used to be a chemical engineer. I don't say it as much anymore because most people know by now. But it's nice when I can tell someone's new to the channel if they ask what I used to do, because I used to say it all the time. See, USPS though is not one thing. USPS is, let's see how many employees there are. How many USPS employees? There are 640,000 USPS employees. Some of them are amazing. Many of them are amazing. I would say most of them. Just like I said earlier, 90% of people are like generally good people. I would say maybe not 90%. 90% is kind of high. I would say at least half of them competently, efficiently do their job, generally speaking. Very generally speaking. Most of them are generally good people. But the bad ones stand out, and you take it for granted. You take for granted every interaction you go. Like, you go to McDonald's and you go through the drive-thru and everything goes fine. You don't remember it. But the time that they screw up your order, and the time that somebody gives you sass, the time that they spill the drink into your lap when they're handing it to you, the time that something goes wrong, you're always going to remember that. That's just the way our minds work and all that stuff. Like, the negative stuff stands out more. So if and when something goes wrong, and USPS has such a bad rap amongst so many people. I've shipped tens of thousands of packages. Their defect rate is significantly less than 1 in 1,000. Their defect rate for me over the past 20 years that I've used USPS, using eBay, using all the different things that I've done, their defect rate is less than 1 in 1,000, probably less than 1 in 2 or 3,000. They're so good at what they do. It's mind blowing. You take like a little flimsy. I ship out PWEs like quite a lot. You take a little flimsy thing for $1 or $1.50, whatever it is. You not only in the U.S. for 70 cents, you can send it anywhere in the U.S. Maybe 80 cents now. For like $1.50, you can send this thing anywhere in the world, and it gets there like a huge amount of the time. For 75 cents, you can send it anywhere in the country, and it gets there a massive amount of the time. It's actually mind blowing what they do for how cheap they do it, in my opinion, at least. But yeah, like, there are bad apples there. Don't paint with a broad brush over everyone, because my USPS, shout out Verona, New York. Shout out my PO box address at the bottom of my oh no, that's actually my vault address there, but on my website. Shout out to my PO box address, my post office. They're awesome. I've got to defend my crew when people say they don't give an F. I definitely get my post office workers stuff, and my FedEx carrier and my UPS carrier. All of them know me. All of them know me quite well because they're constantly bringing me stuff. I know a lot of the big cities, you probably have different people all the time, but I always have the same people. Are gifts to post office workers deductible? Quite confidently, I can say that they would be. Verify with your CPA, but I'm quite confident that they would be. Kiki Jiki says Chef playing coy like it's not him that's streaming for Dan. I mean, Chef started for Weedle, and then Chef's doing his own thing now. So I don't think Chef would come back. But yeah, Chef's a free agent. He wants to get paid in wilderness packs. So the way that I have it arranged with Ponga and PK is I pay them an hourly rate and they profit all the bulk. All the bulk, all the codes. If you stream for me, if you are my third streamer and you rip this pack, we ship hits only generally. If I had a streamer that wanted to ship the bulk, if their customers wanted them to ship the bulk, I would be open to that. Like, I don't care. You can do that. If it's on eBay though, it's a little bit more complex because we pay shipping, whereas on Fanatics they pay shipping. So it's a different situation. We need to figure it out. But on Fanatics, when Ponga or PK rips this and they hit the Charizard, they ship the Charizard and they keep the rest. That's their, like, I don't care about it. I don't want it. I don't need money from that. So my arrangement with my streamers is that they profit the bulk. There's not much there. So it's not like it's a huge thing, but that's just the arrangement I have. Came in just in time to hear Daniel not vouch for me. Dark and I'm out. Mr. Walrus, I mean, look at that guy. Look at that shady character up there, that Bidoof. I don't know how much I trust him. If you have a room full of 100 people, 2 of them have a signed Jason Page slab. Yeah, there's sad stories in our hobby. Like, I knew that guy. I did not know him that well, but sad stories. I don't know what was going on in his personal life. You never know. You never know what's going on in someone's personal life, and I don't want to get into the whole morale. The amount of people that say it's fine to steal from Walmart because they're a mega corporation. The amount of people that say it's fine to steal from big mega corporations, I'm not down with that. I don't agree with any of that. It's a different story if you're talking about, like, oh, you need to feed to steal your children. I don't even want to go down this. Then you could come up with the whole, like, around me at least. I don't know how it is around anyone else, but around me, there's a decent amount of resources. Literally at my post office, there's a bin for, like, dropping food for the local food shelters and stuff. So, like, around me, maybe it could be better than it is, but there are resources. Like, I'm trying to say how I don't even agree that you should, if your family's hungry, you shouldn't steal food even to feed your family, because that's not a good enough excuse. Because at least around me, it seems, outside looking in, that there are the resources in line to get fed without stealing. So yeah, that's a rant. I don't know how I get on some of these that I get on, but we're here. Dan's so desperate to talk about what chemicals he made an alt account just to ask him. New low for the channel. I swear I have no alts in this live stream right now. I do need to get an alt Fanatics account because I can't even spy on PK and Ponga. The way that Fanatics works, it says, like, hey, Catch 'em All C has joined. Catch 'em All Collectibles has joined. I need to make an alt account that's not for bidding, not for doing anything nefarious, just so that I can sneak in and spy on Ponga and PK. I don't want them to, like, when you're at work and when you're alone, you might act and talk one way, but when your boss or when the higher ups come by, you talk a little differently, you act a little differently. Kiki Jiki, he might know what they're like when I'm not there, but when I hop in, Pongo always says hi. PK usually doesn't say hi, but I know he sees me, or he might see me most times, but Basic says, caught a kid swipe a card from my binder. I made him walk around and sell it for me to make up for it. I never saw the kid again. Jiki Jiki saying, tip your mail carrier. Yes, people will find very quickly. All this, I don't want to get political at all. I guess this is, like, kind of political, sadly. But USPS is like a service. We pay some amount of our taxes, like, subsidized. I don't know exactly how all the finances work of the post office. But our ability to send a 75-cent ESE or to send a 75-cent stamp exists because the post office loses money. They are a service. We pay for them as part of our tax dollars, just like the police, just like the military, just like roads, just like things like that. They're a service. And I do not want the USPS to be privatized. I do not want the USPS selfishly uh as somebody who spends a lot of money with the post office. I very much appreciate the fact that I'm benefiting from them being subsidized. They're subsidized by our tax dollars, and that benefits all of us that ship anything at all. Like that cost will go up significantly if they have to make money on paper. There's no like the military doesn't profit money. The roads don't. Well, I guess throughway tolls and I don't even know how a lot of that works either. But most government services like inherently cost money. They do not profit, and I think it's weird to try to think that the USPS has to profit and can't cost a little bit of money. Could it cost less? Could it be made more efficient? I'm on board with all that. I think almost everything in general, private or public, could generally be made more efficient. But yeah, let me stop there before I get too much deeper. Uh, Les Rocket owns their own engineering consultancy. I started in April and basically triple my income. I'm looking to get into Pokemon to generate some side income. That's awesome. That's awesome. Radio frequency engineer and dabble in flight software systems for launch vehicles and spacecraft. It's so cool. Like when I do consults and when I get like a deeper look into some people's finances, some people's Pokemon businesses, some people whatever they want to share with me. It's really cool to like talk to a dentist, talk to the amount of different industries that we all share this side thing of Pokemon. It's really cool. It's really cool to hear what people do in their background. If anyone wants to share, 123 people watching. Somehow we picked up in the past 15 minutes. If 123 people want to share, what do you do in your day-to-day life? I just want to know. You don't have to share if you don't want to, but I'm curious. Like, we probably have mechanics out there. We probably have librarians out there. We probably have teachers out there. We've got dentists. We probably got a little bit of everything. And it's just cool to hear what people do. And we all share this common joy in Pokemon. Purple Porygon has some awesome postal workers. This is one, I think it's 25. I actually Googled it every year. I can't remember. So I Google it. I think they can receive 10 per occasion and they can receive 25 per year. So I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but I've played by the rules before, and there's some years that I've maybe stretched the rules a little bit, but I think I'm going to try to stretch the rules more than I have in the past. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do for them yet, but I think mine are pretty cool, and I think they'll be fine with they'll be fine. I'm gonna do it all by the books. If the Postmaster General's watching, I'm gonna stick with all the letter of the law. I'm gonna do everything right. But if anyone from my post office is watching or listening, I'll take care of you guys. I get it. I get it. They're a government. Like they don't want bribery type thing going on. They don't want actually shady things going on. I get why they instate some amount of a limit. But yeah, to me, if I'm a private citizen and I'm doing 2 letters a year, or I do my Christmas cards once a year and it's 40 Christmas cards and I send them all out, and I'm allowed to tip up to $25 a year and $10 per occasion, and then me, who's there every day as a business, who's profiting off all this stuff, and I'm not allowed to tip any more than $10 per occasion and $25 per year? Come on, what are we doing here? That's really weird. And yeah, Dan's gonna hand them each a KAC stamp MetaZoo promo. See, that's a reasonable thing. It's like, hey, I'm gonna give you 5 of these pieces of cardboard, which are intrinsically worth 1 cent a piece, and I just so happen to buy these things back for 25 bucks a piece. So that would be like an interesting way around it. In a couple minutes, I'll read those who are volunteering what they do for a living. I'll read those out soon. Oh God. Whenever the food bank bin at the post office has his favorite Campbell's soup flavor, Dan grabs a can and replaces it with a Medizoo blister. I have never and will never take anything from that. I am a net. Not only am I a net, I am a lifetime only inputting into it. Not like I'll put 5 things in and take 2 things out. I am net only in, and yeah, I think things like that are great. Like helping others, it's a great thing to do. But Campbell's soup. When's the last time I had a Campbell's soup? Well, maybe I did earlier this year. I have some in my pantry. I feel like the only time I eat Campbell's soup, I always keep a couple in stock in my pantry because I just like to have a fully stocked pantry of all the different things. And who knows when you might want a Campbell soup. But we actually buy the cream of mushroom. We buy for when we do like a pork loin or something in the slow cooker. So that's probably the last time I had it. Um, but yeah, I don't really like those. I used to eat those a lot for lunch at work, and those are bad. Campbell soup, ramens, sodium, very, very bad. Not that I don't eat too much sodium now, but I think I eat less. Kiki Jiki says you're not missing much watching PK and Panga. Oh man. Ooh, retro throwing shots. Post office doing a lot more for the hobby than the police. I will say. So I had a theft issue, which my insurance needed a police report for. I dealt with on the phone. I dealt with some very annoying. Like they would say the same thing about me. So the people I dealt with on the phone. Hey, officer, I need you to take a report for me. Someone stole my Pokemon cards on the playground. It was a $13,000 shipment that was stolen and lost, stolen, whatever. I needed a report for the insurance company. I talked with the sheriffs. No, I started local. So I started with my town, and they said it's not our jurisdiction because XYZ, go to the county. So I went to the county sheriff. It's not us, go to the state. So I went to the state, and they tried bouncing me back. So I was getting bounced around a little bit, and it's like, man, this is annoying. I just need to like get a piece of paper for my insurance company. The state police sent actually a cop. I remember talking to my neighbor about it because I'm like, my neighbors are gonna think like there's a domestic going on, like they're gonna think something weird's going on. But I'm like, hey, did you see? There was a cop at my. I was given a report because Pokemon cards got stolen. But anyways, that guy was awesome. That guy was awesome. He actually like he came into my house. I showed him some Pokemon cards to give him an idea of like these things actually have value. He grew up knowing Pokemon, and so we like chatted for a while about Pokemon, and I showed him some stuff, and he took my report, and it ended up getting to where the insurance company paid out because I had the proper stuff I need. But on the phone, I dealt with some miserable officers who were annoyed by like this kid's trying to raise an issue over his $5 Pokemon card getting stolen. But eventually, I got some very in like any other profession, Pokemon resellers, police officers, postal workers, librarians, all the other professions I said. There are good ones and there are bad ones. There are good people and there are bad people. No profession is above every other inherently, and none is below every other inherently. Like that's just the way that it works. um, yeah, the USPS could actually have some threats against it incoming. I hope they don't. I hope they don't fundamentally change. I'm very happy with the postal service. I think relative to a lot of other line items, and I don't get political. I don't align with either side very much at all. I don't think, but if I and I think we have a multi-trillion-dollar budget, and if I had to go line by line through our budget, I think the postal service would be like opportunity cost wise. I think the postal service would be some of our best expenses. Are there better ones? Probably. Are there significantly worse ones that I would personally trim first? If I were in the Doge, if I were in the Department of Government Efficiency, I think there would be a lot lower hanging fruit than the post office personally. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I look at it and like, we're spending every dollar very efficiently. Let's fix the post office because they're the worst dollars we're spending. I don't think that would be the case though. But to be fair, to be fully honest, open, transparent, I've not dug into it and I couldn't tell you how we spend our money. Um, I couldn't tell you. Is it too niche to just sell singles? No, absolutely not. Um, there are tons of people that only sell singles. There are people that buy bulk for $10 per thousand cards, and they have a Roko or a Fizz batch, or they have these different robot sorters, and they're like, you could make 50 grand a year. Like, you could make more than 50 grand a year only buying bulk and only dealing and selling singles. You could sell 5, 10, 50 cent cards all year long, and you could make 50 plus grand a year. You can do only slabs. You can do only sealed. Like, the amount of avenues, the amount of ways you can transact in this hobby is mind blowing. I like to do a little bit of everything. I like to be all over the place. But that's just me, and not everyone likes that. Some people specialize. Some people specialize in one thing, like Java. Java rated me earlier. Java does primarily, and this is Java Akuma on YouTube. If you don't know who he is, go check out his channel. Nice guy, great channel. He does Japanese cards. He primarily does Japanese singles. He grades them with PSA generally. He doesn't do as much CGC. I don't think. I don't think he does much Beckett at all. He specializes in Japanese PSA slabs primarily. So, like, some people specialize, some people do a little bit of everything. I go more towards like a little bit of everything, but I'm drastically increasing my percentage of live stream selling, and I'm optimizing for that. So I've optimized for different things: Troll and Toad Evo, eBay Vault, now Fanatics Live. Yes, if the USPS fails, I presume Charlie will be there, ready to buy, as he did with MetaZoo. Yeah, Grimer echoing what I said. So much liquidity, so many platforms. The hobby is at a size and efficiency that you can absolutely do singles only if that's all you want to do. Yes, the post office beats the banks by far for me. I do consulting. It's very broad what I do. If you want to talk with me one on one, it's $50 for half an hour. It's $100 for an hour. I have done conversations on everything from taxes. I will tell you, as I do, disclaimer, Dan, I am not a CPA. I am not a tax professional. I will talk about taxes. I will give you my best thought on what I would do if I was in your situation. If we're talking taxes, I always advise. So I'm $100 an hour. My accountant, if I call up my accountant on the phone, not like, so I have, there's the two head honchos that run my firm. I have like a rep who's like a lower level one. I think they're like 100 an hour if I talk to them, or maybe 150 an hour. The head honcho is like 300 an hour, or maybe 250 an hour. So a lot of times I'll do like a light tax consulting for someone to help guide them into the right questions to ask their $300 an hour CPA. So I've done that. I've also done like, hey, here's a lot on eBay that I'm thinking about buying. Show me how you would buy this. Show me how you would value each part. Show me how your mind works and how you'd go into doing it. Show me how to use eBay. Show me how to use Fanatics. Show me how to, like, all different kinds of things I've done. Show me how to pre-grade a card. Like, here's a card I'm going to show you. How would you pre-grade it? Would you send this? Would you send this to Beckett, CGC, PSA? Why would you send it there? I've done all different kinds of things. Whatever you're after, I will chat. I've done some that are like tending more towards like finance too. Like, hey, you've talked about IRAs, you've talked about 401ks. And I always tell them, I'm not a fiduciary. I'm not like I'm not going to tell you what investments to pick. I'm going to tell you what I do and why. So I've helped like people ask the right questions to their accountant on paying their kids into Roth IRAs. I've helped guide people into Vanguard, Fidelity, things like that. Like, hey, look into these resources. Here's a bunch of things. Which business credit cards do you use? All different kinds of questions. That's just a small sample of different topics that I've done in consults. So here's where we're getting to people's professions. So we have a master electrician. So my last house, we have a master electrician and a plumber back to back. So my dad is very handy. My dad has done actually the new furnace that we put in my house earlier this year. My dad did it with his buddy. He has a buddy who does a full-time like HVAC job, self-employed. My cousin is building a house right now, actually mostly finished it recently. My dad did most of the HVAC in that with his buddy. My dad did a lot of the plumbing. Dad did a lot of the different, I don't think he touched electrical at all. But I rewired my whole last house. My new house is only 20 years old, so I've not had to rewire it. I've not had to replumb it either. But with my dad, I replumbed and rewired my whole last house. I cut out a lot of PVC. I cut out some old stuff, and I put in PEX. I put in a PEX manifold, and I did home run shots to everything. Because we used to have volume issues. We used to have volume issues with some of our sink, and if the dishwasher turned on when the sink turned on, and the shower was on, and the toilet flushed, there'd be volume issues. So I put in a manifold, and I did home run shots with PEX, with a PEX out of the manifold to everywhere in the house. It was a small house. It was a ranch with a full basement, so it was easy, very easy. And I rewired my whole house because it was all accessible, it was all easy, and the wiring was just bad. It was all the old cloth wire getting really like degraded. It was dangerous too. The amount of dead end wires they had that were hot, just wire nutted, dead ended in the basement ceiling. No box, no nothing. Like the amount of things that were off code. And where I live, theoretically, maybe I did or did not. Yeah, I don't want to get into where all the proper certificates filed and uh, inspections and this and that. Depending on where you are, I think those things vary a lot. But just presume where I am, I did all the things I had to do. Continuing on, we've got an engineer here, another one. Grimer says he doesn't need me to dox his job. We have an industrial plastics injection molding / stretch blow molding machine setup maintenance person. King of Rats says, what are you paying for Surging Sparks, Paldean Fates, and 151 right now? So right now, 151, I am rounding down 70%. I have had so many people reach out to me with 151. Oh, crap. I think I sent somebody the wrong price sheet. I realized my spreadsheet was set to 80% instead of 70%. Actually, they DM'd me. I just was going to my Discord DMs because I just DM'd. I DM'd somebody my 80% sheet, which is the wrong one. And I'm live on YouTube now replying to them 2 hours later. But so I just put in 70% back into my spreadsheet. Surging Sparks is weird because the packs are so expensive. The packs are higher than I'm paying for them right now. So Surging Sparks, I am paying $444. Actually, that is 70%. What's the box? I think the packs are at a slight premium to what the boxes are. So I would pay like 70% of the box price. Let me see what that is. So Surging Sparks right now, I am paying $416 per pack. $416 on Surging Sparks. Paldean Fates is weird because Nick and I, that's gone up a ton. We just had Adrian. We just had Treasure Cruise Trading. We had Treasure Cruise Trading on PokeFlips last Friday. He has access internationally to Paldean Fates. Like, reach out to him. Go to PokeFlips. Subscribe if you're not yet. Reach out to Adrian. In the description of our last video on PokeFlips, we had him on. He will buy it, or sorry, he will sell it to you. You're looking to sell it though. That's the problem. If you're looking to buy Paldean Fates, he will sell it to you cheaper than I can. But I am currently buying 70% of TCG player price is $526. Last time I bought it from him, I paid like 4.5. I paid 4.5. He might be higher now because market's gone up, and I think market was a little bit lower when I bought it. But yeah, he has access to it a lot cheaper than I do. So if I can get it from him for 4.5, maybe 4 3/4, I'm not going to pay 70% because I can get it cheaper elsewhere. So the 3 sets you picked are kind of bad because 151, 70% is 626. I'm paying 6 flat because the amount of people that have reached out to me with 151 packs, even Crown Zenith too. Crown Zenith right now is 70% on Crown Zenith is 320. I'm paying 3 flat. I'm paying 3 flat because I had somebody reach out to me with 10,000 packs. They wanted me to buy 10,000 more packs that I've already bought. They wanted me to buy 10,000 more at $35,000. I mean, I like Crown Zenith at 350, but when I already have 10,000, I lower my buy price when I already have 10,000. So yeah, these things always fluctuate based on cash flow, based on how much inventory I have too. So those are my live bids on those packs. Thanks for reaching out. Question for you. Why have you never dabbled in a direct-to-consumer sealed product and just listed things on your website and promoted your own store? Is time and scalability the main deterrent? So shout out to PokeNE. Brian is a great show for like what you can do on your own. But he's mentioned it before. He spends like 5 grand a month in Instagram ads. He has in the past. Maybe he changed what he spends now. But he's mentioned before, if you do the actual math, he spends 3% on Wix or whatever, but then he might spend an additional 3 or 4% doing all his own advertising. So I've always spent like 12% on eBay. They do all this stuff because I don't need to worry about economic nexus. I don't need to worry about all the other headaches that come with doing it myself, advertising for myself, this, that, and the other thing. I know Retro is talking about doing his own website. Wait until you got to do your own sales tax. It's a nightmare. Wait until you hit economic nexus in another state and you have to add a sales tax for another state. eBay does all that. I used to be too. I used to be optimistic that someday I would get a contracted rate with eBay. It never came around the way that I wanted it to. So I always paid 12% on eBay, hoping that in the future I could pay 8 or 7 or 6. There are people out there, I promise you, I'm not them. I don't know them directly, but there are people out there that pay sub 5% on eBay to sell on eBay, with eBay handling everything, eBay handling all the sales tax stuff, and they're paying less than 5%. I never got there, but some people might. Some people in this space might. And you get the best of both worlds. You get all of eBay's customers, all of eBay's advertising, all of eBay's tax compliance, and you get it for like barely more. There are some people probably paying as little as people pay on their own Shopify, their own Wix. But I never got there. So that's part of it. But yeah, the small premium that you pay for all the peace of mind, all the red tape that eBay cuts through, it's such good value, in my opinion. We got a software dev here, Triple E. Post office was on strike in Canada for 4 weeks. Yeah, I remember hearing about that. Dan sees those leave a penny, take a penny bins, sees a quarter and says, that's not supposed to be in there, and takes it. Oh man, I rarely pay for stuff with cash. I guess I do a little bit more now. Like Costco, I have to because they only take Visa, I think, and all mine are Mastercard. But no, I usually just swipe my card. It's easier. We got a CPA here. I better watch out what I say about taxes. I'll be corrected. Mountain West says, "Cat's out of the bag, boys. It's me. I'm the third of the menage a trois." Uh, Retro memeing on the domestic dispute that I did not have, that an officer was not at my house for. It's funny because I live on a dead end road, and like people would probably notice. There's probably no neighbors of mine down the street that I don't talk to that saw a police officer. It's funny too. Now I remember. I'm unlocking more of my memory. I know I was talking about this 15 minutes ago. I apologize. I'm not keeping up with my live chat. I'm bouncing back and forth. But I remember it was at night when they came, and they used the flashlight. So they were flashlight. I don't think they saw on my mailbox the numbers. They drove past it. Where my driveway is, it's weird. Like a lot of people drive past it, have to turn around and come back. But they were using the lights, like looking at my house, trying to see house numbers. Long ways away from the road too. So like, yeah, it was funny. Like a state trooper came down my road, which they normally would never come down, and they're using their light like across my lawn to my house. So it was just a funny thing. Actually, police came more than once because one of the sheriffs came one day. That was daytime, and then one of the troopers came at night though. So multiple police officer visits. So this was an inbound consignment. I don't want to get too in detail. This was an inbound consignment that showed delivered. I had video proof that it was not delivered because I have cameras everywhere. That's all it needs to be said. It showed it was delivered. It was not delivered. I had proof that it was not delivered, and insurance paid out. And as like this is when I was ranting about like there are some bad LGSs, there are some good LGSs. There are no professions that are inherently good or bad, I don't think. Always try to find good, competent, professional people in any industry you deal in. Yeah, we got some people going into the national budget. David saying there's only 4 line items that matter in the budget: Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and defense. Everything else is rounding errors. How much GDP does the post office create versus how much it costs? Yeah, like the amount of businesses that do so much towards the GDP, due to the subsidy, due to the service that is the USPS. It's very great ROI, I would imagine, for the economic well-being of the country and its citizens. I got behind a ways. I'm gonna try to catch up again. How much are the costs on the Roka slash Fizzbatch per year? I don't know exactly. They're expensive. There are videos out there. There are better resources out there than me. If a viewer has an idea to pitch to you, is it best to email you? Yeah, email's good. Go to my website, catchemallcollectibles.com. There's a contact form on the bottom, or email me at catchemallcollectibles.com at gmail.com, or Discord DM me, or Instagram DM me, or send me a letter by carrier pigeon. Send me a snail mail letter to my P.O. box. A lot of ways to reach me. Any one of them is fine. Any one of them is perfectly fine. Why is personal finance not a mandatory class in high school? Is it because it makes too much sense? I know some people, anecdotally, some people require it, some people don't. Education is down to the state. Some states lag very far behind other states, educationally, if that makes sense. I was educated in New York, and I'm using the wrong word there. But we got a male stripper in here and a lawyer. Nice to see a nice wide array of different professions. But I think in some it is, and in others it isn't. So mine did not have one. In New York, I did not have one. In pre-calc, we talked about mortgages. We talked a little bit about some finance stuff, but not enough for me, I don't think. Katie Lowen is a web designer developer, does not know anything about home-related trades. Yeah, I'm very fortunate to have a father who's very handy, and giving my own self some credit. I think a lot of people have parents that are handy that don't take any interest in that and don't pick up on all that. But I started the rant. Oh, yeah, I did talk about it. I rewired my whole house. I plumbed my whole house. I can wire an outlet. I can go to a panel box. I can insert a new circuit. I'm comfortable going into a live panel box, wiring up a breaker, doing the neutral, doing the ground, doing all the stuff, wiring it up, putting a new circuit in with a light, with some outlets, with whatever. I'm comfortable doing all that stuff. Residential electric. It's actually black, gold. The black goes to the bronze, and the white goes to the silver, and the ground goes to the green. This is not electrical advice. Please do not, if you do not know what you're doing, do not tear into an outlet. Do not go put a new circuit in your house. Get all the proper permits and requirements. But I'm happy to be able to do that. When my mower breaks and I need to take off the blades, replace them, sharpen them, put a new belt on, when I need to, I'm happy that I know how to do all that. I'm glad, thankful that I have a dad who taught me all that. It's huge. And one thing though that's like, I know it's daunting. Like, and again, this is not advice. Don't go hurt yourself. But I had my dishwasher break. My dad never taught me how to replace a seal, like specifically on a dishwasher. But like my handy background, when my dishwasher broke, I Googled it and I fixed it. When my in-laws' dryer stopped drying, I knew how to break it down and troubleshoot it. Is it the element? Is it this? Is it that? And I fixed it. And I bought the element and I fixed it. When the idler pulley on my dryer failed, and I burned a belt off because a sock got stuck in between the two tubs in the washer. Some of the background from my dad, but then my just desire to dig into things and learn. And in the future, I might do less of that. I talked about my doorbell. I talked about my $30 doorbell in my opportunity cost video in my recent live stream. But I talked about it with respect to Pokemon, but with respect to like things in life in general. 10 years ago, maybe I could have. 10 years ago, I probably could have. Because 10 years ago, my PS3 quit, and I went on YouTube to figure out how to fix it. 20, 30, 40 years ago, you couldn't go on YouTube and figure out how to change the idler pulley on your washing machine and put a new belt in and troubleshoot and diagnose your washer and dryer and dishwasher and furnace. I put in a new, what do they call it? HSI, hot surface igniter. I put in a new hot surface igniter into my former, and I put in new, what do they call them? Pressure switches. I put in all kinds of new sensors and switches and stuff on my furnace as it kept failing every couple months. 20 years ago, you couldn't do that because YouTube didn't exist to the extent that it does now. The amount of things that you can teach yourself on YouTube, and then in spite of that, all the things that you can teach yourself with this, and then we go and we argue on the internet, we do and talk about these stupid things. We go hate watch different YouTubers. The amount of waste that we make of the supercomputers in our pockets at times. It's like the whole world is here waiting to be learned, and people just don't do it. People are in their rocking chairs getting nowhere, crying about this, crying about that, not doing things to fix their own situation. I need to formally turn the lights red now as I'm ranting about people not taking advantage of the opportunities right there for them. I'm going red light. There we go. The lights are officially red. Let's see if we use them anymore. Usually I turn them red and then I don't use them much anymore after that. And one thing about the personal finance in school, to some extent, it would be the blind leading the blind. Like my dad talks constantly, not constantly, but my dad will occasionally bring up, he holds some amount of resentment towards some people back in his high school, however many years later, 30 something years later. He was not like the greatest student grade wise, and he listens to these occasionally. Maybe he's still in here, but he was very good in shop class and he was very good with his hands. And there's definitely been there's some good amount of guidance counselors and there's some bad amount of guidance counselors. His was like one of those that puts his nose up at people that want to go into the trades and that don't go to college and this, that, and the other thing. And the amount of people, like, I forget which ones he talks about, but I think he has a math teacher that like has gone bankrupt so many times, and his guidance counselor, this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, to some extent, you'd have a hard time teaching finance too in depth in schools because you'd have kids going home and saying, hey, mommy, daddy, they said credit cards are bad. Why do you always swipe the credit card? Why do we always get these bills in the mail? Some amount of that would be like a big hurdle to overcome. Blind leading the blind, with some teachers having no idea what they're talking about, trying to teach it. And then obviously you'd get like more experts in that thing to be the people teaching it. You wouldn't have an English teacher who doesn't know English very well. You'd cover that with some of that, but like the amount of friction it would create at home for some amount of people would be kind of bad probably. It's probably not going to significantly improve anytime soon, I wouldn't think. We got a letter carrier here. Retro's trying to find a website designer. Katie, feel free to reach out. Let's see. Elemental Hothead says, love the channel, just discovered it recently, and I appreciate the public supporting the USPS regardless on good and bad experiences. Appreciate you being here. Stevie TCG took personal finance in high school. I'm still using XPaths on my spreadsheets. Grimer, where did you DM me that? I need to go back. I'm going to make a big note right now. A project for next week. I have a million projects for next week. Next week's going to go by fast. I'm writing Grimer XPath. I don't want to show my notepad to prove that I did it because there's a lot of other stuff on there and some personal names. But I promise you, it says Grimer XPath. I will look into overhauling the means with which because another thing on this list, actually it's not on this list, it's probably on another list somewhere, is to integrate that not in my Google Sheet, but onto my website so that people don't have to ask me in a live stream, how much are you paying for this? It'll show it on my website. Token Fun is looking for Terastal Festival news from Retro. Yeah, I'm behind a bunch again. I'm trying to get caught up. Question: Team Up booster box or Evolving Skies booster box to invest in long term? I don't like to give advice on things that I'm not doing. So me personally, if I had either of those boxes, I would sell them. I don't deal in individual boxes really. I do have though. I have 0 Team Up cases. I have 2 Evolving Skies cases. Team Up has performed very well. So if I had to have one, I would have an Evolving Skies case. And you can tell that's an honest answer because I have 0 Team Up cases and I have 2 Evolving Skies cases. So that's what I'd pick. But before I'd invest in them, the only reason I have those is because I have significantly more money, not in this one specifically, but like in everything else. Before I would pick Evolving Skies booster case, I would pick a case of a newer set. I would pick most Sword and Shield cases over that one. I would pick most Scarlet and Violet cases over that one too. Appreciate you, Pokemon Classics. I appreciate Pokemon Classics never goes out of style. I appreciate the very kind shout out in your recent video. Mega Evo Mart. Yeah, if something gets marked delivered to your PO box and then it's not there, generally speaking, I mean, I have signature on everything above a certain value. If it's small value, I would self-insure. Even though I have insurance, I self-insure for small stuff. It is not wise to make a small claim, whether it's auto, whether it's home, whether it's whatever. I've heard people talk at the lunch table, wherever, at the water cooler. Oh, my bumper got hit by the cart that old school Pokemon left in the parking lot. I'm gonna do a claim on my insurance because my deductible is only $250 or $500, and it's gonna cost $1,000 to repaint my bumper, whatever. I cringe when I hear that because it's like you're gonna make $1,000 claim on your insurance to save $500. They're gonna get that back. They're gonna get that back within a couple of years because they're gonna raise your premiums. Like, insurance is not for small claims. Insurance is for the big stuff. Insurance is for wipeout risk, in my opinion. I made a video 2 years ago. If you do the nickel dime stuff, they will get you back. Insurance is like, if you hit big, you take your money and you leave. Like, you only do it for the big hits. That's my take. Mathematically, it works out that way too. I have math and logic and reason on my side, and I have a video from 2 years ago talking about my take on insurance. Someday I'll visit Cardinal Gaming as well, for sure. Jack's trying to bum a ride with classics. Willing to go halvesies on gas. We got an orthopedic doctor for the VA in here. Mountain West is 24 minutes behind in chat. I've had that happen so many times where I'm in a live stream and I pause a couple times, I forget to go 1.5x, and I forget how far I'm behind. First, Dan doesn't give me financial advice, and then he doesn't give me electrical advice. Unsubscribing. Jack says, lucky my dad told me to go away. I'm busy. LOL. I got to hold the flashlight a lot of times, and I learned a lot holding the flashlight. I still hold the flashlight occasionally. I'm not too proud to hold the flashlight. I go and I service my vehicles. I do the oil changes and stuff. I know roughly to, like, right now, my 2 vehicles are too new to have any issues with the linkages, with the tie rod ends, with the wheel bearings. But when I used to drive those cars, I'd hold the flashlight a lot because my dad, I've done the brakes. I've never done a wheel bearing entirely myself. My dad's always been there. But oil changes I've done entirely myself. If we're doing brakes, there's definitely times where he'll do this side, I'll do that side. But if we're getting into a tie rod end, a wheel bearing, if we're getting into something bigger, an alternator. Actually, before we traded in for the minivan earlier this year, my wife's alternator went in her car, seized up through the belt. Well, it smoked the belt. It smoked the belt, and it partially through the belt. And I was holding the flashlight for my dad changing the alternator. It's just easier. It's like, you're the expert, you're the professional. I'm gonna consult with you, and then since you're here, you'll do it in half an hour. It would take me 6 hours and watching a million YouTube videos. So that's usually the way that it goes. I 1000. So my retro is just asking for someone's portfolio. My portfolio of past handyman ventures is rewiring 1,000 square foot ranch, replumbing 1,000 square foot ranch, the whole thing, PEX manifold, the whole 9 yards, redoing all the breakers, redoing everything. I've fixed dozens of PlayStation 3s. I used to fix them all the time. New diode, new Blu-ray drive, whatever it may be. Yellow light of death. I did bake a couple motherboards. I did successfully fix a couple, but that was not a thing that I did a lot. Reflowing all the solder, that was a nightmare. I fixed an Olevia 42-inch flat screen TV. The capacitors on the power supply board, I don't even know what you'd properly call it, but the power supply board that comes in, I soldered out and soldered in new capacitors that had bulged, gotten bad over time. I ran that TV. My sister might still use that TV. My dad bought that TV like 20 years ago. I fixed it like 10 years ago and got a couple years out of it. And my sister might still use that today. I fixed my in-laws' dryer. I fixed my own dryer and washer each once. I fixed my furnace multiple times. I have a new furnace now. I fixed my lawnmower a bunch. I've done, and then like all the car work, standard car work, maintenance type stuff. What's the opportunity cost of talking about your doorbell for the third time? Very negative, very negative. Xbox Red Ring of Death was very similar to the PlayStation Yellow Light of Death, as far as I know. I believe the fix for it was like basically taking your motherboard out, throwing it in the oven, reflowing the solder. Very finicky, very like, maybe there was a better way to do it, but like I did do one Yellow Light of Death fix. It was so, it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good. It didn't smell good. And I didn't do it again. Dan flexing about repairing things is dark. 11 minutes later, I'm still talking about repairing things. How's it going, Trainer Sin? Token Fun says, I bought a doorbell camera, but I have to have a voltage regulated doorbell chime box already to put that in that camera. There's a lot of solutions out there. I'm not going to say the exact ones that I have, but I have multiple different ones. The DIY security systems out there are awesome. Red light mode. Here we go. Mason throwing up his red lights. Same on the dryer. I fixed mine from a YouTube video for $40 in parts and felt like an appliance repair god. It feels so good. Like, even if I can consult, and I can't consult anytime I want for $100 an hour. I might only consult 10 or 20 times in a year for $100 an hour. And a lot of times they're $50 for half an hour. So I might make a couple $1,000 in a year on YouTube. But there's been times where, in hindsight, like I might have only made $10 an hour fixing my washer relative to what I would have paid someone else. Usually it's probably a lot better than that, because the call to one of those people, that's going to be a lot of money. That's going to be a couple $100 minimum. Usually I'm fixing it within a few hours for like 10, $20. So I'm probably making $50+ an hour. Can I make more money elsewhere? Yes. But like, do I want some stranger in my home? Do I want like to bother my dad? I don't want to do any of that. So I just want to fix it myself most of the time. The doorbell thing was nice. $30 you get a new doorbell. I don't want to pay $800 to get a new washer. Like, that one I gotta fix. My appliance goes, I gotta fix it. Something on my car goes, I gotta fix it, because you can't just buy a new one. But these disposable electronics, if a PlayStation broke again today, I probably wouldn't dive into it. I'd probably just sell it broken for parts and buy a new one. That's where my opportunity cost is today. Classics blames teachers for everything, especially high school English teachers. I have a couple high school English teachers I was not much of a fan of, but if I had Mr. Classics, I would have liked English a lot more if I had Mr. Classics. Pokemon goes to 0 next week. What do you do for work? Do you go back to the corporate life, new business venture, entrepreneurship for life? I like to think that I have enough runway. If Pokemon went to 0, I don't have backlog I can sell because it's all worth nothing now. So I literally can't sell anything else. I just have the money in my bank account, and I have the sugar mama to pay the bills. So I have runway because I have time. I have probably a year until I have to make any money, because hers doesn't entirely cover everything, but it covers most. I probably have a solid year before I have to get a job, before we like run out of money. And we would like cut costs. We would extend that year into 2 years by being more frugal generally. But I don't know exactly what I would do entirely. My dad is self-employed. I would be like, hey dad, like I could probably go and make, dangerous thing to say, but I could probably make $20 an hour cash minimum working for my dad. Like I am not handy enough that I could go and charge the hourly billing rate that he has, or his friend in HVAC, or my uncle contractor has. But he could probably justify paying me at least 20 bucks an hour. I could probably talk him into it. Cash. Um, Whatever that means. So stopgap to fill the time. I would work with him a little bit if I had to. I would work with him some if I had to. I could do other things. I would probably expedite. To be honest, I would probably buy a food truck. I would probably turn the risk up. I would probably buy a food truck, and I would probably take a shot at that. But I don't see that coming anytime soon, thankfully. So I think I'll have a lot of notice if anything goes that drastically wrong in Pokemon firsthand. But it's an interesting thought experiment. I would probably be doing some odd jobs here and there for my dad. I would probably find some odd jobs here and there to do to fill the gap, and I would probably have a food truck up and running in the next year or so to take a shot at that. See, talking about parents, like, I think finance is very taboo, and I am very open with finances with my kids. You need to be careful because at the age that my kids are, they don't understand the taboo nature of it. So I don't want to just tell my kids what our net worth is. I don't want to just tell my kids how much money we make a year. But when they're the right age at the right time, I will be open with all that. I will be entirely open with all that. I mean, I'm open with a lot of it on YouTube, so I may as well be with my kids. But I think I'm better with money because my parents weren't ashamed of it growing up. And maybe people will say, well, Dan's parents are rich. And no, they're not. No, they weren't when I was growing up either. It's easier to be open with your finances when you're rich. One, we weren't. But two, like, yeah, they were open with everything. And I think I'm better with money for it. I think I'm better with money for the fact that my dad would tell me what stuff costs. My dad would show me money that he got from a job that he did. I had a book that I kept all my hours in. And when I started, I don't remember exactly the year. I don't remember exactly my age. I think I have the book. I have a filing cabinet here with stupid stuff that I shouldn't have here because it's stuff that I don't use in my business. And then I have one somewhere else with stuff that I actually need to consult to. I think I have all my books from working with him over the years, and there's stuff in the way, so I can't even really open it right now. I used to make $3 an hour. I remember making $3 an hour. I remember making $5 an hour. I remember making $7 an hour, and then I think I went right to 10 from 7. But I used to, yeah. I mean, he was open, and I remember, like, I was a kid making, like, I was probably 5 when I was making $3 an hour or something. Minimum wage was actually probably that, and I was not worth it. But there's probably a time, and I don't have a specific memory of this, but there's probably a time like, hey, Dad, you're paying me $5 an hour, and you just had a $5,000 check for this, that, and the other thing. Like, we worked this amount of hours, and you're making this much money, and I'm only making this much. There was probably some funny conversations that were had that I don't even really remember. But yeah, I think having translated, like knowing the value of a dollar because I knew what stuff cost. I knew how much money they made. I know how much money they make now, roughly, to an like I know their finances now to a pretty decent extent. And I think the people who grow up that, like, you're not allowed to ask about anything. There's like shame around talking about money. That doesn't help anyone, I don't think. I don't think that helps anyone. And I'll definitely be open, honest, transparent with all stuff finances with my kids. And I think you can go too far with it though too. Being too open, being too, if it's either extreme, if everything's really good, being too open can raise like entitled, spoiled. You got to be careful for that. If you're being too open and everything's bad, if you're like, hey, kid, if something doesn't turn around in the next 2 weeks, you're gonna go hungry. We're not gonna be able to feed you. We're gonna lose our house. You can't be too open if things are like really good or really bad either. So I like, things weren't really bad growing up. Things weren't amazing. I didn't have to navigate either side of that, thankfully, with my parents. Maybe things were a little bit harder here or there than I ever realized. But yeah, generally speaking, I think transparency with that, being open with your kids is better. Hand a young cashier 301 with a 276 tab and watch their head spin. I've done that multiple times, and it's always fun. It's always interesting. Um, Appreciate you, Grimer. Yes, this was not the original one, but that was the color that I had. It's a sealed one. It's a sealed one. I have my original Game Boy Advance SP up there, flame red, and I have the indigo Game Boy Advance that I had growing up. Yeah, Classics has been making videos like regularly, slowly but regularly. I want to say at least once a month, like most of the year. Probably more than that even. Yeah, right here. One video a week. So that's more than I realized, but I'm pretty sure I watch all of them. One video a week surprises me. Is it? Maybe it is that much. I watch way too much YouTube. Mason sold 175,000 bulk. Bulk Mountain shrunk today. That's crazy. Small stack against the whole. DCG's booming when bulk is moving. Retro was asking for her website design portfolio, not my handyman portfolio. I know you weren't asking me, but somebody else was talking about it. So classics, car restoration tech, and a few other things. Thank you, 66 Mustang. A fellow Dan. If I ever go to Cardinal Gaming, I definitely want a tour of Bulk Mountain. And I definitely want to see the fellow robots too. Bulk Mountain is like Scrooge McDuck's vault. Oh man. Mason does consulting in Discord every night for free. Mason, what Discord is that? Is that Ernesto and Jake Smith's Discord? Go join Spicy Boys TV. What do they even call it? What do they call that Discord anymore these days? Where is it? Wizard Forest Spicy TV. I see no one in voice right now, so there's no free consults going on in Wizard Forest Spicy Boys TV. Dan should live stream himself mowing lawns and fixing appliances. Why pay you when Squeaks is gonna come one up you afterwards? Chef's here for the food truck. Dan, I'm very open with finances around my kids. I just cut the BS and tell them directly we are rich. There will definitely be some amount of like I wouldn't call us rich. I think I think at the age I think my parents are generally doing better than their parents were at their like equivalent ages. And I think I'm generally doing better because of how good of a job my parents did. And I hope that both of my kids are doing better financially than I am like at each age. I'm like my parents gave me a lot. They didn't give me everything. And I think it's wrong to give anyone everything. I've talked before about my goal as a parent is to like raise kids that are enabled, not entitled. I don't want entitled bratty. I don't want ones that are spoiled, gotten everything handed to them. I wasn't that. I don't want my kids to be that. I got what I got. I didn't get less. I didn't get more. I want my kids to get a little bit more than I did. But it needs to be done the right way. And I'm nervous about it as a parent. Like, I'm nervous that I might, like, I'm going to give them less than I'm able to. I think my parents could have given me more than they did. Financially speaking, my parents could have given me more than they did. But I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad that I had to pay for part of college. Because if they had just said, free ride, do whatever you want, I might have not taken this seriously. In hindsight, I could have taken college more seriously than I did. I'm happy with how seriously I took it, if that makes sense. I think if they didn't make me have any skin in the game, I don't think I would. Yeah, like it could have had a bad outcome. Maybe there's some like more optimal. Maybe they could have played slightly more or slightly less and it would have been more optimal. But like that's really splitting hairs. And I don't intend to pay full ride for my kids' college. Maybe if the market does too well, though, I might accidentally, depending on what they want to do for college too, because like they might not go. But I might accidentally oversave in a 529, and they might have like maybe college fundamentally changes in the next 15 years. Maybe it becomes free. Maybe it becomes like a lot of different nations. Yeah, politics again. But I don't know. I'm gonna try to do the best I can do. My parents tried to do the best they could do, and they did a great job. And yeah, that's all you can do. But I love when we get into these different, I don't know how much chat likes it, but I love when we get into these different life conversations and talking about optimizing. Not only am I trying to optimize a Pokemon business, I'm trying to optimize how I raise my kids and all that stuff. What was everyone's first job? So I worked for my dad. Nepotism. I mean, come on, all the nepotism. I worked for my dad, and then I went directly to in high school. I got uh what do they even call it? I got a paid internship at the company that I eventually worked for. So I did 10 years at that job as a chemical engineer. 1 year I was a chemical engineering intern, and that's all I ever did. I never had a fast food job. I never had a grocery store stocking job. None of that stuff. Because I had my like, I would have made the same amount of money. Like I was making the same amount of money working for my dad, but I was learning way more useful life skills, and I'm benefiting greatly. Like that's an advantage that I had growing up. Not everyone could get paid 3, 5, 7, 10 bucks an hour to learn how to do wiring, to learn how to do plumbing, to learn how to fix a car. Like that was a huge, amazing paid internship opportunity. Like more than I got financially. I got in all that stuff. Like that was all huge. And then just making my brain work the way that it worked. A lot like going into engineering, a lot of that stuff probably came from um what I saw and what I was around growing up. Like I didn't go into mechanical engineering, but I like still a lot of the same things apply. The engineering brain that came from that. Checks started at McDonald's at 14. What's your take on people sending in expensive cards to make shadowbox art? I don't know what that means exactly. Does that mean the expensive cards are being like destroyed in some way to create the art? I'm fine with people doing whatever they want to do with their cards. Actually, like the gray felt hat Pikachu. I've never seen it done with this, but I've seen where people send someone like 50 cards of the same card, and they'll cut out. This card is bad because the background's not like wild, but people will send like 50 of a card, and it'll get cut out in layers to where the Pokemon is like 3D off of it. It's destroying cards, but like it's someone else's property. If they want to do with their property what they want to do with it, and maybe this whole rant makes no sense because like what you're talking about doesn't destroy the card. But if it destroys the card, do with your card what you want to. That's what I'll always answer. Live and let live. Classics delivered newspapers at 11. McDonald's at 14. Chef was a dishwasher. Classics made $5.50 an hour at McDonald's when he started. I want to find now. I don't know where those books are. Stupid desk mat is rolled up. All my I don't want to show the front because it'll dox my name, but all my past tax returns are in here. But somewhere in one of these filing cabinets that I have all my old books, I think, from when I used to work with my dad. And it wasn't like a regular job, but I talked about this recently too. I mowed my grandpa's lawn, which wasn't like a full-fledged job, but I mowed my grandpa's lawn. Mowing my own lawn was a chore growing up. So I didn't get directly paid for that, but part of this is actually one thing too. Maybe my wife will get mad at me if she's still listening. But my wife didn't really have chores growing up. She was my wife was the valedictorian of her graduating class. So the way that her household did it, and I think kids like I think we haven't fully talked all this out because our kids are too young to have like real chores. But I like the idea of our kids having some amount of chores growing up. Like me and my sister for doing chores, we didn't necessarily. I don't even remember. Did we explicitly get an allowance? But our chores were like, this is your contribution towards the household. I mowed the lawn when I got to that age. That was part of my chores. And my first car that I got, my parents just gave it to me. It wasn't a brand new car. It was a what was the first? It was a 1996 Pontiac Bonneville, my grandma's old car, and it blew up within a couple months. And then that one, I got my mom's old car after that one blew up and got replaced. So like I had my first couple cars given to me, and the maintenance was done. All that was included. At some point, I started paying for my own insurance, and I forget exactly when that happened. But like Yeah, I want to give my kids more, but not too much more. I don't want to give too much more. I want to give them the ideal amount, and I don't know what that is. I'm going to try to figure it out. But like chores, my wife didn't have chores per se growing up. My sister and I used to fight about who had to do the litter box and who got to do the dishes or the laundry or whatever, and we weren't always great at it. We always didn't do the best at it, but we had certain responsibilities that we had to do, and I think that's important. Like I think that's good. I plan on, I don't know how we're going to do it exactly, but we're going to have some amount of chores for our kids to do as part of their household responsibilities as they grow. We're going to have pets. They're going to have to brush them, feed them, walk them, whatever, help with the dishes, help tidying the house, whatever it may be, sweeping a floor. I think that stuff's good for you. Checks started out at $6 an hour. Brown CLM made 5.25 washing dishes at a golf course. Wait, what picture's falling down? Oh, this one. I bumped it. I have that. I must have bumped it hard because I have that tacky stuff on it. I must have bumped that one really hard. I think I did with the back of my chair actually. I fixed it, Mason. I fixed it. The Squeak, all the Pokemon Wonder interviews are amazing. Squeaks was another amazing one. Did I'm gonna look back in my stream now. I'm gonna click back like at the beginning. It was off the whole stream. Yeah. I can't believe nobody else mentioned it. That's funny. 2 days left of school before winter break. Same for here. Two off. I hope college fundamentally changes in some way. I think the system is very, very bad. I went to a college with a $50,000 a year sticker price, but I did not go paying that price. I would not have gone if I had to pay that price. My parents subsidized it to some extent. My dad actually worked at a college. He actually specifically went back into the workforce to work at a place that, I mean, it paid him well, but he ended up not being happy with it, so he went out and did his own thing again. But there was a couple years where him having that job paid for half my tuition. So it was one of those jobs where he worked at a college. Some colleges will give you like a free ride if your kids go to that college. I think his was the case, but it was a college I wouldn't go to because they didn't have engineering. Um, but they paid half my tuition for a couple of years, and then he got done with that job because he was just miserable at the job, and I can't blame him. Similar to him, I think I'll never go back into the workforce because I just don't like being managed in the way that a lot of companies will tend to manage. But anyways, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, colleges. People are crazy. People, the anecdotal scenarios that I've seen, the debt that people will get themselves into because they feel like they have to, and then they claim victim mentality. They claim like, oh well, everyone told me I had to, and I was forced into going to this college. Blah blah blah. But the amount of people that will go $200,000 in debt with their job prospects being making like 40 grand a year. Like, what are we doing? Why are we not doing math? Math is needed. Why are we not doing math on the potential ROI of our degree? Like, I went the way that it all worked out. My sticker price was 200 grand. I had one scholarship that brought it to 140. I had a $60,000 scholarship that I earned. From 140, I had a lot of other small scholarships, some medium sized ones. I want to say all said and done, I paid about 25. No, so I graduated high school with like 10 to 15 grand saved. My parents took that. So my money and my sister's money was actually saved at the bank of mom and dad. We had savings accounts growing up, and then the rates got so low. My parents took our money that we saved. They paid us a better rate than the savings accounts would at the bank. And when I graduated college, like a large chunk of that went towards paying the start of my college. So I graduated high school with like 10, 15 grand, but my parents had it all. They helped subsidize my expenses. They definitely paid. I'd have to go back. I don't remember. They probably paid more than I did. But I paid that initial 10 to 15 grand into the pool to help towards college. And then on the back end, I had 20 to 25 grand in loans. So of the 200, Probably 80 was probably 80ish, if not more, was scholarships. And then the college paid for another maybe 40. That would leave 80. I probably paid for 40 and they probably paid for 40. Maybe they paid for more than that, and they definitely subsidized my living expenses heavily. They paid my room and board and all that. They covered all that while I was out there. So they probably paid more than that. I paid 40ish. They might have paid 60ish. I don't even know. But anyways, yeah. Some people would say, well, I got less. So Dan was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He was born on third base. I'm a victim. I'll never have what he has because he got more than me. That doesn't do any useful thing for anyone. Like, I got what I got what you got, and then you do what you can with it. Some people got more, some people got less. But anyways, how did I get on that rant? Oh yeah, college free. The amount of people that will go $200,000 in debt, paying the full sticker price, and then come out making 40 grand a year. It's like, what are we doing? Why are we not doing math? I would not have done what I did. The reason I did what I did is because I was going for chemical engineering. And I had a pretty good idea that I was going to come out making approximately $60,000 a year. Because that's what the data showed. The amount of studies out there, the amount of that information's all out there. The average chemical engineer undergrad made 60 grand a year coming out the year that I came out. I made less than that because I stayed living at home, subsidized housing, all that stuff. And I paid off my student loans the first year that I was out of college. And the second year I was out of college, thanks to mom and dad letting me live there, not paying any rent, not paying any groceries, any of that stuff. I saved up a down payment the second year. So yeah, I was given certain things, I made certain sacrifices, and I got to where I am because of all that. And yeah, but the amount of people who are like, it was my dream to go to that college, and now I'm 200 grand in debt, and it was my dream to have this job that only pays 30 grand a year, and it's my dream to live in this apartment, which I can't afford because the city's too expensive, but I want to live there, and it's my dream. The amount of people, like, I'm going back to my whole American dream is dead rant. The amount of people that will just cry about everything because they need it this way and that way, and supply and demand doesn't matter to them. Like, I want this card. I'm entitled to it because I want it. It's part of my American dream. But the market's crazy and they drove the price up to $800. Now I can't afford it. So I'm going to cry about it and blame everyone else. Like, that stuff is just weird to me. But it's so common. It's so common. I'm probably going to wrap up by 12:30. 12:30 will be 3 hours. I've gone so far off the rails. I need to wrap up. That's why I had so many chores. My parents must have been punishing me for only finishing my second in my class of 400 plus. Wow, that's awesome. Second in 400 plus. So my wife was the valedictorian. I was fifth out of 89. My mom was salutatorian, so second out of 17. The high school my mom went to no longer exists. It was absorbed into the high school that I went into. Um, My buddy's high up in academia. I guess there's a theory that evolves into these privatized packages since all the information can be found at least AA level. I would not be surprised for education to fundamentally change drastically in the next 25 years. Like, my grandkids probably, if I have them, might go through a drastically different education system. I could see it happening. If not K to 12, almost certainly post high school. Post K to 12, I would think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's going to happen. Yeah, it needs to be packaged well and it needs to have others recognize it as valid for sure. And there's a lot of people, there's a lot of money, there's a lot of big colleges with big endowments that don't want that to happen. So there's going to be a lot of lobbying, there's going to be a lot of people against that. There's going to be a lot of people against that in industry because that's the way they went and they just think that's the only way because that's the way they did it. But anyways, Greeks and Mason are having a nice full conversation in here. Thanks guys for hanging out in here. I guess I'm here, so they're not using Discord, but they'll probably after party probably in Wizard Forest Spicy TV Discord if you want to go. Mason, if you're heading there to chat, if your office hours start when this ends, feel free to link the Discord invite in chat if you want to. Yes, everyone should do math on whether or not they should go to college. When you buy a car, you should do math. When you buy a house, you should do math. When you rent an apartment, you should do math. You should always be doing math. A lot of people hated math. It was one of the most hated subjects in school, but it's one of the most useful subjects that you will use your entire life. No matter what you do, no matter what you do, you are interacting with money. Money is math. And the amount of people that fail to do second grade math on a daily basis is astounding. It's like my son is in first grade. He's almost fully equipped with all the math that he'll need for the rest of his life, assuming he doesn't go into engineering or like deep level, whatever. He almost is equipped with all of it. He'll learn it better as time goes on. But by second, third grade, you have everything you'll need, and most people don't know how to do it. They buy things they can't afford. They wonder why they don't have any money. They blame other things. Like it's just wild. Why pay for college when you could drop out to sell Pokemon? Absolutely. Mason says I absolutely will not be linking to Discord. Perfectly fair and fine. My favorite booster box of all time. It's going to be a super basic answer. Base set. It's the one I've opened the most out of any of them. I had the pleasure of opening dozens of them back when I got into the hobby, 2014 to 2018. I did my part at lowering the population of sealed base set boxes. They were plus EV somehow. I was buying, grading base set Charizards. I would still get, like, if I ripped, the last time I ripped a base set Charizard, I got like chills. I got that feeling still. If I opened a base set heavy pack right now and I hit a Charizard, I would get that feeling again. It's base set hits for me. I would, the nostalgia bring me back to my childhood binder. I still have my childhood binder, but like, it's a basic answer, but that's the one for me. I want to break more in the future. I probably will break more in the future. Maybe I will break a base set box sometime soon on some live platform with which people sell. Maybe that's coming. Stay tuned. But yeah, with that, I will be ending the stream. I appreciate everyone hanging out. Yeah, I'm fully caught up. So I'm gonna end there. 3 hours. We turn the lights red. I appreciate everyone hanging out. As always, if you enjoyed what you saw here, I'm here live every week. Next week is gonna be weird. I usually do Wednesday. Christmas Eve is Tuesday. I'm not doing that. I have parties. Christmas is Wednesday. I'm not doing that. I have stuff going on with family. Maybe Thursday that week. I might have to just double dip with PK on his last stream of the year. But yeah, I'm not sure. I will be live next week for sure. Appreciate you, Lurkin Lowry, became a member for 4 months. I will catch everyone next week. Hope everyone has a Merry Christmas. I will probably not see you till after Christmas. So have a Merry Christmas if you celebrate it. Happy Hanukkah, all the other stuff. Happy holidays.